hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. I have a Halloween crafting marathon for you today. I'm going to show you 19 of the Halloween Dollar Tree DIYs that I've made so far this year in 2024 here on my channel. Hope you enjoy today's video. Now for the first one, it's going to be a spooky wreath. I'm going to use a Dollar Tree wire wreath form and cotton balls. I'm going to start with some of their burlap roll first to cover up the wire wreath form. Now this is like the medium size wire wreath form. I think it's 14 inches. It's not the real big one they have at the Dollar Tree. It's kind of the more medium size, but it's definitely large enough to go on your door. And I am going to just start by wrapping it with burlap. I just hot glue it here to the back of the frame and then simply wrap it. I love these burlap rolls from the Dollar Tree. You could also use the burlap ribbon if that's all you can find. But what this is going to do is give me something, a kind of a background for the wreath and something to glue the cotton balls onto. I wish Dollar Tree had like the larger foam wreath forms. The ones that they have are pretty tiny, too small usually for a door wreath. So this is a way that you can kind of get around that, still use some items from the Dollar Tree. So as you can see, I almost had enough on that roll to go all the way around the wreath form, but I was a little short. I am overlapping it. So I just hot glued the ends together, just making sure that my seam is going to be on the back of my wreath where you won't be able to see it. Now that looks pretty good. I want to do a lot of like blacks and white and like brown burlap kind of shades today for a more neutral Halloween. And now it's time for the cotton balls. You know those little cotton pods they have at the Dollar Tree? You get like 2 or 3 in a package for $1.25, which I think is really expensive. I'm going to try to do the same kind of thing here, but with cotton balls. Now I'm just hot gluing them, staggering them as you can see so they're not like right on top of each other. And I'm just going to simply do that with hot glue all the way around. Now if I really wanted it to look like the cotton bowl with the like leaves on it, I could add that. You can just get some Dollar Tree potpourri and add the little woody parts in there to make it look like cotton. But what I'm going to do today, I wanted to do something spooky. So I'm trying to make these look like spider egg sacs because this is going to be a spider wreath. And my son has already claimed this for his dorm door. And it's really spooky and I think it's going to be really fun for him. So I just keep going all the way around, just staggering them out. And I like the fact that, some of them are kind of bigger, smaller, different sizes. That's great. And I want mine to light up. So I picked up some of the little spider lights from the Dollar Tree and popped some batteries in there. One thing I'm going to have to do is attach the battery pack to the back so you won't be able to see it. And I'm just going to do that with some twine to tie it on. I did leave like the battery side upright so I could still go in here and change batteries if I need be. I can just kind of replace the twine. I tie that on, also hot gluing the other side to it. And what I want to do is wrap these around. Now, as you can see, it's not like a really big thing of lights from the Dollar Tree, and I want one of the spiders to light up to be visible. So instead of wrapping around it and to be able to go all the way around the wreath form, I'm just working it in between the different cotton balls so that it will lay flat against the wreath form, but pretty much light up the entire wreath. Now these are like spiders on top with the lights on the bottom, but you don't really want to have the light side up. You want them to kind of glow from behind. I just go around and hot glue them to the wreath form here and there just to make sure that they stay on there since I did not wrap them around. They would otherwise just be sitting on there. But as you can see, I could almost make it all the way around with just one of those strings of Dollar Tree lights. Now it's time for the spider webs. This is the Dollar Tree spider webs. This stuff is kind of hard to work with. I mean, it just takes a little bit of time, I guess. There's a lot there. You just have to stretch it out and kind of get it going. So I'm trying to get my first piece kind of started here. What I want to start with is I want to wrap all the cotton balls to make them look like they are shrouded in spider web. So I just start here on the back and I'm wrapping it around. I don't want to cover up everything, so I skipped like a portion. I'm only going to do like about half of the wreath form like that. And covering up the spiders and stuff is fine because they are still going to glow. And one reason I did the little spider lights first, out of all my spiders, is because I kind of want to hide the cord and stuff. I don't want that to be really obvious. And the webbing helps mask that a little bit. I just went all the way around, just attaching the web to the back with some hot glue to get us started. And I want it to look really creepy. So all like spider webs, spider egg sacs, which I think are so creepy. And then lots of different spiders. And I'm going to finish it off with a giant spider hanging on the wreath form. Now, I think that looks good, but I also wanted the center of the wreath to be covered in webs to make it super creepy. So I'm going to grab another piece here. I'm going to kind of leave this one a little bit wider, not stretching it out as much. And I just attach it to the back with some hot glue like that. And I'm going to string it around and kind of spread it out. As you can see, you can stretch it if you've never worked with this stuff before and kind of put it exactly where you want it to be and it'll stay. I'm just going to kind of work mine around some of the cotton balls like that for that creepy factor. Wrap it around, stretch it the other way. And again, a little bit of this goes a long way, but I want this to be like just covered in cobwebs for extra spooky Halloween effect. So that's how much I have on the first round. I do add a little bit more webbing to it. This is the spider that I found from the Dollar Tree to go on it. Isn't it so cool? And then for like some more medium-sized spiders, I couldn't find like, they don't have the spider rings at my Dollar Trees. They only have the spider rings that have like the jewels on them. But I don't really want color in this. I'm going for that neutral Halloween look. So I just simply take some black acrylic paint and just paint the gems. And now we have little spider rings. The fact that they were rings, I thought I should just take advantage of that. So I'm going to use those to attach those to the little cotton ball spider egg sacs. And I don't even have to glue them on. It actually worked pretty well. They were like kind of the perfect size. I'm going to do like 4 of these because I've already got all those little baby spiders on there, like hatching out of the egg. So these can be like the more regular size spider, and then we have like our big giant spider there, which I love. It's plastic, it's black, it's doesn't have glitter or any metallic on it. It's just straight black, and it's just got a great head and everything on there. I love that giant spider. So I added those on there, and then I was like, I think I need a little bit more webbing. It was covering the inside of the wreath form, but not super thick. So I'm just going to work a little bit more around, also partially covering the new spiders that I added to give them some creepy factor. And I just kind of keep adding some spider webs until I'm happy with it. And I don't know if I've ever crafted too much with this stuff. I use that Dollar Tree creepy cloth a lot more than I think I use this stuff. But I was actually pretty pleased with the results. And using the cotton balls on here, you get that giant bag for $1.25 from the Dollar Tree. Just so much cheaper than trying to find like the little cotton pods, which I've had trouble finding too. I was so disappointed. I found something the other day and you only got 2 in a package. And I'm like, whatever, that's crazy. For $1.25. Now that I'm happier with it, I'm going to add a hanger. I just kind of feel around there in my burlap ribbon for the wire, and then I just take some Dollar Tree twine and just tie a simple knot to make an easy little hanger here for the back. I have the battery pack at the bottom, so it's going to be easy to turn on and off. And then I want my giant black spider from the Dollar Tree to be hanging upside down like this. I think that looks kind of creepy. See how cool the like little head is on that? I love it. Now, I started by tying it on with twine. I thought that would be sturdier. I end up cutting that because I don't really like the look of it. I guess you could use like maybe fishing line or something like that would look a little bit more web-like, but I did think that that twine did kind of take away from it a little bit. I'm also going to glue it down, and that's what I actually just end up settling with, is having it glued down. It was pretty easy to glue down. The legs touch the wreath form pretty well. So I just add a little hot glue here and there wherever the legs touch flatly against the wreath form, gluing it to the burlap and the little spider egg sacs down below. Super creepy, and this is me saying, I don't really want that string on there, so I just went ahead and removed it, and I think it'll stay on just fine. And here it is, our super spooky spider wreath. I love it. I think it's really fun. It looks really cool lit up at night. And I think my son lives in an apartment this year at college. I think all of his like little neighbors are going to get a kick out of this. Perfect for Halloween. And yeah, he stole about half of my DIYs I made this year for Halloween for his door. Let me show you what it looks like lit up. Those little spiders for $1.25, definitely a great value. Out of all the little mini lights from the Dollar Tree, the spiders are my favorite. I think they're kind of the creepiest. And maybe because I have arachnophobia, but spiders and spider egg sacs, super spooky for Halloween. Really fun DIY to make and a fun Halloween wreath DIY for you. Hey guys, are you enjoying today's video? If you are, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps my videos do better here on YouTube. For the next DIY, I found this little skeleton hand, like stemless wine cup at the Dollar Tree. And I thought maybe I could put a Dollar Tree glass jar in it because what I want to do is put like a real candle in there. Now, the little wine glass itself is plastic, so I wouldn't be able to put a real candle in there safely. So what I want to do is try to get it out of here. So I start by just breaking it. Again, it's just plastic. Be careful if you're going to break it. I felt like I was going to cut myself at some point on some of the sharp edges. I'm just trying to squeeze it, break it, see if I can get it out of there. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, and I can kind of see the glue in there, how it's attached. So I started heating mine up with my heat gun. You could always use like a blow dryer too if you didn't have a heat gun. And I just kind of keep maneuvering it until it pops out. And I was able to get it out, and it just gives you this great little skeleton hand that you can use to hold just about anything. It's black and with a little bit of silver metallic on it. This is the smallest jar I could find at the Dollar Tree, but it also has a built-in candle holder in it. So I thought we could make it work. It's not perfect size. It's a little bit large, but since I'm going to have this flat on my surface, I'm not going to worry about it falling over with like a candle in it. I don't like the fact that it has that silver metallic look, so I'm just going to give it a quick spray with some spray paint, some ultra matte black spray paint, just to the outside of the hand, so I just have all black. That's what I was kind of looking for with this. And I've seen these before, like the little plastic wine glasses from the Dollar Tree, but I'd never seen them with the stemless like this before, and it gave me this fun idea. Once I get it dry, I can sit this in there. There's about a ½ inch from the bottom, but it still sits in there level enough that I think it's going to be fine to burn an actual candle in there, which is what I wanted to do. Now, this has the built-in little tea light holder, so I just pop in a little Dollar Tree tea light, screw the lid back on. This DIY is super easy, and just display it right in here, making sure that it is sitting flat, and it's like a little black skeleton hand holding the candle. You could also do your like skeleton hand like an ivory, like a bone color too, if you wanted to kind of change up the color scheme. But I was trying to use a lot of black in the colors for today's Halloween DIYs. Really easy to do. As you can see, that jar, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom, but it sits in there stably enough to be able to burn a candle. If you could find a tinier size jar, it might be even better, but you don't want it too tiny because you want it to look like the skeleton is actually holding the candle, which is what this looks like. Again, I just put it flat, no candlestick or anything underneath of it because I did want it to be safe because I'm going to be actually burning candles in there like this for Halloween. But definitely a quick, easy DIY and super spooky for Halloween. Now, the next DIY is my favorite. I'm going to take a Dollar Tree sun hat and one of the Dollar Tree party hats, and we're going to make a beautiful witch hat. It's like a total work of art. I love how this turned out. Now, I just take my little Dollar Tree sun hat. I'm going to leave it intact like this. I want the bill. I want the top of it. I do remove the tag just in case you might be able to see that through there, but you probably won't. And then I love using these Dollar Tree party hats. They're really big. All you have to do is kind of remove the tinsel from them. You could also use Dollar Tree cardboard for this and shape it into a cone, but I thought that this would be easier because it's already pre-made. I tried to pick the orange color or the gold color because I thought it would be easy to mask under what we're going to wrap this with. And it does have like the little party hat hanger in there, so I go ahead and pop that out. I'm just putting my party hat on my Dollar Tree sun hat like this. Now, if you can find the sun hats in black, it's going to make this job even easier. I could only find it in this regular straw color, but that's okay. We're going to make it look fun for Halloween. Now, I do want to attach it. I don't want this part falling off. It might mess up the total structure of it. So I just use a little bit of masking tape, and I tape the party hat to the sun hat so it stays in place. So basically, I want it to be made out of this straw texture, but I want the whole witch hat to be made out of it, right? So the bill and the very bottom of it's already kind of made for me. Now I just have to cover the entire top of the party hat. So that looks good. I have a couple hat tops from other DIYs I've done here on my channel, and I always like to try to save my scraps. And so I used one of them, and it was totally enough to cover that large party hat. If you've never taken one of these straw hats apart, all you got to do is kind of get it started a little bit and pull and tug, and it comes right apart like that. If you get to an area where it kind of stops, all you have to do is kind of clip the thread and pull it a couple times, and you'll get it going again, and you can just go ahead and do the entire thing till you get one strip of that straw. I'm going to try to use every last bit of this, so I go all the way to the very end. And one thing I've noticed when you unwind these, a lot of times you get that plastic thread that they use kind of poking out here and there. So all you got to do is kind of try to find it. And if you pull it, you can pull it all out. I was able to pull almost this giant thing all like in one piece. It's almost like a fishing line, I guess, that these are sewn together with. And so I just make sure that I got all that out so I don't have to worry about that once I get this thing put together. Now, you do have to kind of find the perfect place to start because you want to kind of continue that pattern that has already started on here with a full piece of this. So I start right about here, and you won't be able to tell where you really start and stop. I'm going to follow the same pattern that the sun hat is made out of, but I'm just attaching mine with hot glue to the party hat. You want to overlap it ever so slightly because you don't want to see any of the party hat underneath of it. And so I just kind of do a section at a time. I did have to kind of let it set up and dry a little bit before I started spinning my hat and attaching more, because I wanted to make sure that it stayed in place and it didn't kind of, migrate up on me and that you could see some of the party hat. So I just kind of take it slow, one section at a time. It's just like wrapping something with like rope or something like that. And I was a little worried that you might be able to see the gold through it, but in the end, you can't really see it. But if you get like a more bold color of party hat, because sometimes that's all you can find at Dollar Tree, you might consider painting the party hat first. Or again, you could also use just poster board for this. That one strip that I unwound was plenty long enough to do the entire thing, so I just keep wrapping it around. Now, I did consider decorating the witch hat in this like just straw color, since this is all I had or could find at the Dollar Tree. But I'm actually going to end up painting this, and I'm so glad I did because it just looks so cool in the end. And I am going to speed this way up because it is a little time consuming, because you have to kind of make sure that you get each piece glued down just right to kind of continue that pattern all the way up. You don't want to be able to see any seams. You don't want to see any gaps. You want to make sure everything is glued down. You don't want it kind of gaping a little bit later. You want it to look like it's all one piece. So I just keep wrapping it and gluing it all the way to the top. When I get to like the very tip top, I thought it would be a little bit easier to stand mine up and wrap it. But otherwise, I was just kind of like, as you can see, just kind of spinning it away from me like that. And I want to just make sure that I get the very tip top exactly how I want it. So I'm just going to keep going around and around until I cover the party hat completely. And I only have like a little bit left here at the end, which I also make sure that I kind of glue together to give it that seamless witch hat feel. Now, I've looked for Dollar Tree hats at Dollar Tree before, and they're, very low quality. And the fact that I was able to make this with supplies from the Dollar Tree is amazing, because I think if I would have bought this, it would have been pretty darn expensive. So I just cut off the excess that I had there, glue it to a very tippy top there, and what we're going to do is paint it. So I'm just using black acrylic paint and a brush. What I want to do is I want it to be black, but I want some of that straw color to peek through, like in the seams. So I'm making sure I don't go too heavy in at like the little crevices here, because I do want that straw color to shine through, and it made it look textured. It made it look aged. I think that a brush and acrylic paint is definitely the way to go on this rather than spray paint. I mean, you could spray paint it, but what you're going to get is it's going to get in all those little nooks and crannies, and you're going to get a solid color. Now, if that's what you want, that's fine. But I wanted that great two-tone color scheme, and I just love how this turned out. So again, I'm just using black acrylic and kind of a larger paintbrush from the Dollar Tree, and I am just going all over until we have a black hat. I'm not going to worry with like the underside of the witch's hat there at that point. You're not really going to be able to see it under there, even though I don't know if it's because I added the paint, but it's a little frilly around the edges, which I love. It just gives it so much more character than sitting completely flat like a cheaper witch hat. And that looks pretty good. I'm just going to kind of go over it here and there just to make sure I didn't have any patches that were too light. And again, trying to let as much as that straw color shine through as I can, but at the same time making it black was my goal. And I want to decorate this really beautifully. I absolutely love how it turned out. I'm just going to make sure that I get it good and dry first. And then I want the decorations to be spooky, but kind of simple. So instead of a ribbon to go around the witch's hat, I'm going to use the Dollar Tree creepy cloth. This is like the ivory color of it. I thought that would look really good with it. So I am just going to kind of measure out how much I need. I'm just going to kind of bunch it up like that to make a little creepy sash to go across the hat. That looks like that's going to be plenty long enough. So let me kind of try to decide where I want the front of my witch's hat to be. I do want to kind of decorate it over to one side too. So I'm going to have the seam be right here back in the back. Even though with this creepy cloth stuff, you probably can't really tell too much where it starts and stops. And I just make sure that I don't overlap it very much. Just attaching it with hot glue only to the back like that. And I think that looks really creepy and cool. I think it's a little bit more decorative actually than ribbon. And then to decorate it, I'm using the Dollar Tree wood sola roses, the wood curl roses. And I think I'm going to use 5 of them. I'm just going to leave them that natural wood color. I think that's going to look really pretty together. I think I'm going to do 3 on the bottom and like 2 on top. I think that looks kind of cool. So I'm just going to simply attach these with hot glue. You could also use, real flowers. I would probably suggest maybe like a white flower or something like that. Or if you're not going to paint yours black, you could always do black flowers for this part. They have like the black roses from the Dollar Tree, I know, with the Halloween section. I think 5 of those is perfect. And then I wanted a little touch of white. So I'm using some of the Dollar Tree Baby's Breath to give me that little bit of white. I want that kind of poking out from behind the wood sola roses on each side. I noticed that a lot of them are kind of missing. The Baby's Breath kind of falls off of them a little bit. So I just cut mine into individual pieces. And if there's any like just plain green stems but nothing there, I just go ahead and trim those off. It looks better than kind of like leaving those on there. But individual pieces are just a little bit easier to work with. I just add a little hot glue to the tip of them and have them kind of peeking out from behind. And I think this is the perfect final touch. So it's really spooky, but this Halloween decor is actually, I think, really beautiful. So let me give you a closer look of how our Dollar Tree sun hat, witch's hat, turned out. Isn't it so pretty? All that texture and those colors. And the fact that you can see the straw behind it, and that's like the same color as those wood flowers from the Dollar Tree, I think is just so fun. I love it. Hey guys, have you checked out my new website yet? Quick reminder, craftybeach.net. It's going to have an archive of my YouTube video DIYs over there that you can pin on Pinterest so you can remember to go back and make them. Okay, back to the DIYs. I wanted to do a spooky little crystal ball using one of these plastic balls from the Dollar Tree's Halloween section and one of their black candlestick. Mine had a little bit of piece of metal sticking out of mine like wire, but I was able to clip that off pretty well. It's kind of the shorter one, I guess. And then I love these little plastic globes they have this year for Halloween. I think they have them tinted different colors. They looked different colors in the box at the Dollar Tree. I picked one that I thought was really spooky. I love that it's already stained. Now for the lights, I'm actually going to use the lights from one of these Dollar Tree glass bottles that have the little cork lights in them. And the reason I'm using that one instead of the fairy lights from the Dollar Tree is because the battery pack is so much smaller and I should be able to fit it inside the crystal ball. And so I won't have to hide the battery pack, but you can kind of use whatever you can find, I guess. It's not a lot of lights on there, but I think it's going to be plenty to light this up. So I wanted to kind of see what it looked like with just the lights in there first. And it does look cool, but you can kind of see the wires, and I don't really want that. I wanted to have more of a cloudy crystal ball kind of feel. So I'm just going to use some pillow fluff from an old pillow, just breaking some parts in there and putting that in there with the lights and seeing if I like that better. And I do, but you can still kind of see the wires because I added the wire lights first, right? So I put a little polyfill in there first and then the lights, and I kind of go back and forth with those to hide the wires, but I do kind of try to make sure that all the actual lights are like near the surface of the plastic globe so you can see it. The other purpose of the pillow fluff is it's going to hide my battery pack so you won't be able to see it. I was trying to decide if I wanted to like kind of drill a hole there in my bottom so I wouldn't have to take it apart to turn it on and off. There's a little switch on there, but I decided I kind of wanted it all hidden. So it's going to be easy enough to open and close if I want to turn it on and off. So I just glued it to the bottom of the plastic cup, and I'm just going to display it on the candlestick like that. I'm not going to attach it since I do need to be able to take it apart to turn the power switch on and off. So that will work. Now, if you did need to hide a battery pack, you could probably hide it underneath this globe and then do something creepy like some creepy cloth or something like that in between the candlestick and the crystal ball. I just added a little black and white spiderweb ribbon from the Dollar Tree to the base of it just to give it a little bit more decor, but again, it's not going to interfere with being able to open and shut it. And I'm just going to sit it on top like that. I think that's going to make it easier for turning it on and off, even though I like to leave these things on as much as I can. This is what the little crystal ball looks like during the day. Super simple DIY, but I think it's really cool and kind of spooky for Halloween. Let me show you also how it looks lit up at night. It gives a really fun glow. I've used kind of a similar globe, not this exact one from the Dollar Tree, to actually make a moon one with little bats on it for Halloween too, if you've checked out other Halloween videos that I've done this year. And that one turned out really cool too, because it does kind of look like a moon too, right? But the tinted really kind of gives it that crystal ball finish. Next up, I wanted to see if I could do some Dollar Tree broomsticks for a witch. I found this plastic one at the Dollar Tree, and I also picked up 5 of their willows. Doesn't really matter what color they are. Those are the fall colors. I'm actually going to end up painting them. Now, this has all that deco mesh stuff on the end of it. Not a fan of the deco mesh. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to remove that. It was kind of glued on pretty well. So I'm also going to be attaching my willow there. So it doesn't have to be perfect. But I do try to get as much of the deco mesh off as I can. Sometimes using heat for that to clean that up a little bit. I also want to replace the ribbon that's on there. It's kind of a black on black. You can't really see it. It's just kind of wound around. But I do like that effect. I really just wanted the broomstick itself. I think it's the perfect height to do a Dollar Tree broomstick. Now, on one of my previous Halloween videos, like last week, I did a broomstick, a life-size broomstick from the Dollar Tree, using one of the little hula skirts from the Dollar Tree. And I love it. I think it's so cool. And so I wanted to see if I could find other items from the Dollar Tree that I can make some broomsticks with. So I have a couple different ideas for you today. Now for this one, I'm going to use some raffia. I actually got a roll of this on Amazon. You could always use ribbon for this, but I kind of like the color and the texture of it. And so I'm just going to go ahead and use that. As you can see, you do have to unwind it to get like a decent width ribbon out of this, which is generally most of the work is just unwinding this. But I'm going to go ahead and do that until I think I have enough to cover my broomstick. And I want to just kind of go around it and around it like they had with the ribbon that you couldn't really see on there, the black on black. So I just glue it there to the top, and then I just simply twist my little broomstick around until I get all the way to the bottom. Now, you could also use the full-size broomstick if you want to do a giant one from the Dollar Tree. They also have an adjustable broomstick that I used for my skull topiary recently that would probably be about this size. This one's probably a little bit skinnier than that. So there are other things you can use. And you can also use plunger handles. I put 2 together for my previous broomstick to make it full size. That looks pretty good. Now we can worry about the bottom of the broom. I thought willow would be perfect because that's actually something that you would see like a old broom made out of. Now I wanted black, and they do have like the black glitter ones, but I couldn't find enough of them, and I didn't really want the glitter, and so I'm actually just going to paint these. Now these are the willows from the Dollar Tree that are so popular right now, but they shed like crazy. As you can see, all those little pieces falling off. But one thing I noticed is when I painted them, it seemed to stop that problem, so maybe that's a good fix for it. I chose a total of 5 because I wanted my broomstick to be nice and full. I'm just using the stem on there and hot gluing it to the broomstick. It does have to kind of set up there. I am going to wrap it so you won't be able to see where this all comes together. But I thought I would do like maybe 3 at a time, just so I can kind of hold them together and kind of let those set up a little bit before I flip it over and do the other 2. Just trying to kind of evenly space out the willows. Now they have these in this like brownish color. They also have them in yellow and orange. They have them in all different fall colors right now. So if you wanted a more colorful broomstick, you totally could do that. Now I'm just going to wrap it all with Dollar Tree twine. While the hot glue was still kind of wet there, I go ahead and tie on the twine, and then I just have to start wrapping it. As you can see, you have a lot to cover because you have to cover up all of those willow stems and everything that comes together. And this twine is actually pretty thin from the Dollar Tree, so I just wind it and wind it until we get it all covered. I want to cover up all of it where it comes together so it just blends together more seamlessly. And if you like this color of brown, you can kind of just leave it like that too. I paint it black, and I actually love how it turned out. I thought painting it at the end was going to be the easiest just because it was so sheddy like this. And then I thought the addition of spray paint would make it a little bit sticky, so I didn't want to deal with that. Now, I ran out of twine. A lot of you guys have asked me about my twine holders. This is it from the Dollar Tree. It's actually just one of their yarn holders. So next time you're in Crafter Square, try to look around. I found them usually at my larger Dollar Trees, but I don't know. They probably all have them. They probably come and go a little bit because they are great. As you can see, even when you're doing like a ton of twine like I'm doing, it keeps your twine together. You can find it easily when you're crafting. Keeps it clean, like if I'm going to saw or anything like that. I really love it. I just hot glue the end once I got it wound good enough to cover all of that. And this is what we have right now. But again, I told you I wanted to paint it, but I don't want to get any paint on my broomstick or any of that twine that we worked so hard to wrap it with. So I'm just going to take some painter's tape and just go ahead and tape that part off. And I'm actually going to spray paint it. I thought that was probably the easiest and best way to do this, so I can kind of get all in there. I'm using the Ultra Matte Black. I really like matte finish. It's my favorite. If I can find that, I usually pick that up, especially with spray paint. And I just kind of spray all over. If I get a little bit of that brown showing through in the end, it's not going to bother me. It's going to kind of give it more texture, kind of like the witch's hat. With a two-tone. So I went ahead and sprayed half of it, dried it, and then turned it over, and we're going to go ahead and paint the rest of it. Painted really well. Again, it keeps it from shedding. I've also had some of you guys say, I think hairspray Might work for helping that shedding issue because you don't want it shedding like that in your house for sure. And let me show you how our first little witch's broomstick turned out. I love the black with the raffia. Very neutral Halloween. And I love how the willow looks here at the bottom. It makes a perfect witch's broom. So fun. Now, once I made that, I'm like, I need somewhere to display it. So I decided I would make a fun broom parking like sign and holder for my broom. So I'm using a combination of the Dollar Tree wooden letters and their metal letters. And we're going to spell out broom parking. And then I also found these great hooks from the Dollar Tree. I think that's a really good deal for $1.25. I think we can put them all together on one of these Dollar Tree crafter square signs that's already black, so that makes my job easier. I don't really want the wood bead on the hanger. Might be a little bit too decorative up there, so I go ahead and remove that. And then I also want to add some warmness to it. It's a very light wood frame, so I just use a little bit of Antique Wax by Waverly and do a simple stain here on the frame. Once I get it on there, I kind of use a baby wipe to kind of clean up any excess and kind of blend it in a little bit until I'm happy with it. And it's super easy to stain because you don't have to worry about getting stain on the back. On that black, it's not really going to show up too much. I also use the Antique Wax by Waverly to stain the Dollar Tree wooden letters. And you could also use vinyl for this. I had the letters and I had exactly what I needed, the right letters. So that's why it's important. And I'm doing the same kind of staining on these, just a little bit of Antique Wax by Waverly and kind of wipe that around with a baby wipe until I get kind of a medium stain on these. This fits perfectly on this size sign and it's going to be a great holder for the broomsticks we made today. I'm going to start here in the middle so I can make sure it's centered right since it's 5 letters and just add a little bit of hot glue to the back of these to spell out the word broom. I like the stained wood against the black. Very pretty and kind of perfect spooky for Halloween. Now for the parking, these letters come in half of an alphabet, like first half of the alphabet and last half of the alphabet. So make sure you're paying attention to that when you're picking those up at Crafter Square so you get all the letters you need. I thought about leaving them just galvanized metal, but then I decided I wanted them to kind of have the wood look too. So let me show you how I go about doing that. The first thing is I attach them to some painter's tape. It makes them easier to paint and keep together. And I'm just using one of those stencil daubers from Dollar Tree and some ivory paint for the first coat of those. Painting the galvanized metal can be a little bit tricky. I do find that the sponging like this works pretty well. You're not going to get the brush strokes in there that you might get trying to paint the metal. And I'm not really using any Mod Podge or anything under that. I just did 2 coats of ivory on that. So those look pretty well covered. I am going to stain them, but not quite yet. I want that paint to kind of set up a little bit more on those, but that's going to be the middle section of the sign and it's going to fit on here nicely for a fun broom parking. Now on one of my previous Halloween DIY videos, I did a miniature broom parking where I did little miniature broomsticks hanging and I love that idea for broom parking. So I wanted to do more of a life-size version here for my house and everything is going to be so cute for Halloween. So again, I started in the middle. These don't take very much hot glue at all. This Ryobi kind of spits out a lot of hot glue. You might want to use a more fine tip one, but I just added a little bit of glue to each one. So I didn't have any really seeping out of the sides, but enough to keep it on there because the metal doesn't always like hot glue too much. Now to stain them. I just take some Antique Wax by Waverly and one of those chunky brushes from Dollar Tree, and I'm just dragging it across to give it a faux wood grain to kind of make it go more with the stained letters we have above. It looks a little bit different, but it's got that same kind of wood vibe. And then these are the Dollar Tree hooks. They are kind of a gray color. They're not really as metallic as I would like. they do come with the hardware and the screws and stuff like that, but the Dollar Tree sign's not quite thick enough to use those, so I'm actually just going to attach mine with hot glue. But I didn't really like the gray color, so I thought we'd kind of take them up a notch with some spray paint. So I'm using some of the gold metallic. It's not like a super bright gold to paint those, but if they were more metallic, like gold, brass, silver, I wouldn't have minded them too much, but I didn't really think the gray went with it too much. So I'm just going to make sure that I get good coverage here on my gold metallic, and I love these. I love that I could find these from the Dollar Tree. I think even at Walmart, I probably would have paid definitely more than $1.25 for them. So those look pretty good. I'm going to be doing a total of 2 broomsticks today. So I wanted to do 2 hooks, so I have room to park 2 of my brooms. And then I want to replace the hanger because this is going to hang up. So I just take some Dollar Tree twine. This is kind of the thinner twine to get through those holes. So I do have to knot it a couple times to make sure that it is going to hang. I always like knotting it here on the front and then just kind of cutting off the excess twine. A lot less decorative than the wood beads, but I kind of like that. And then I want to attach these, kind of centering these on that final row of the wood sign. And again, they're not thick enough for the screws, so I'm just going to attach them with hot glue. That should be plenty strong enough. Now, I like it, but I thought I could give it a little more texture. So I wanted to do like a black beaded border. I thought that would be cute. Now, I can always find these little beaded stickers from the Dollar Tree that come on the string of glue, but I can usually not find them in the color that I want from the Dollar Tree. But as you can see, they're really easy to paint. The trick on these is you want to use acrylic. You don't want to use spray paint. It will kind of dissolve all of that adhesive that you have in between them. So I just go over mine with some black acrylic paint until I have good coverage there. Once those are dry, I can still peel and stick them just like you can before. It's kind of get that gooey glue on the back of it. And I am just going to decorate the entire Dollar Tree frame. You're still going to see that like stained wood come through, but you're going to have a little bit of black texture, which when I think witch decor, I think a little bit more decor. They're going to have things a little bit more ornate than just a plain frame like this. So I thought that would add to it nicely. When you get to an end like that, you can always just pull it, stretch it off, and make it any length you want it to be. Just like that. We're going to go all the way around. And even though I painted them, they're still super sticky. So I don't think they'll have any problem staying on here. And I already have the hanger on there. So I kind of have to work around that. But that's okay, because I would have to kind of work around that anyway. I just kind of stretch it, see what fits, and just kind of shorten it if I need to, just by pulling on the adhesive. And there it is, our little broom parking sign for the broomsticks we're going to use today. This one should be dry, that we just painted the black. I kind of set it aside to let that spray paint dry on that willow. Just removing the painter's tape. And we have a really cool little broomstick for Halloween. I love how this turned out. That willow looks so good in the black. And I like the fact that it doesn't have the glitter on there too. So I can just hook that on to that broom parking sign that you see here. I'm going to go ahead and show that to you because it's kind of its own little separate DIY here. But as you can tell, you can't really tell those metal letters are metal. They look really nice painted and distressed like that. And I love like kind of the dark, creepy vibes of the colors on this one. Now, since I did 2 hooks, I wanted to find a different way to do a Dollar Tree broomstick. So I'm actually going to try some of their pampas grass and a Dollar Tree plunger. It's not going to be a super tall one. I'm only going to use one of the plungers today. On my life-size one that I used, the grass skirt, I used 2. And so the toughest part of this is just removing that tag, but mine actually came off pretty well. You just want to make sure you get all the adhesive off. So I use like a little Goo Gone on there, and it stains beautifully with Antique Wax by Waverly. So I just go over the entire plunger handle. It's going to be our broomstick and cover that up. I'm not going to cut it at all. The part that has like the little screw end on it that's screwed onto the plunger is actually going to be covered up by the pampas grass that we're adding. And I thought that would be a fun touch. I've done a witch's broomstick with The grass skirt, I've tried it now with the willow, so I thought pampas grass would be a fun option too. I picked up 2 of the black ones. If you could find 3, it might be even better, but I didn't want mine to be too full because it's kind of a smaller broom that I'm hanging next to the large one that we just DIY'd. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to remove the tags from these. They do have like a brown paper like wrapping these, and I do want to leave them attached together if I can. So I'm just trying to remove the adhesive from the tag that was on there without trying to destroy the paper. But I do want to shorten them a little bit because I don't want that much twine to be used because it's kind of a smaller broomstick. So I'm going to attach them kind of like this and this. I kind of attach mine just on the top. Now, I do have some wire cutters. I actually got these at Lowe's. They work pretty well normally, but I don't know if this is made out of really strong wire or just the fact that there were so many of them. So I had to kind of cut it like little bit by bit and maybe wire by wire because they were a little bit stronger than I thought. It was a little bit more of a fight. So if you don't want to fight with them, I guess you could wrap your twine a little bit taller up there. But I was able to shorten it exactly where I wanted it to be. I'm not used to Dollar Tree florals being quite this durable, though. They are definitely wired, so I guess you could take them all the way apart, too, and have individual pampas grass that you could attach to, but I was trying to make it easier by leaving them together like that. So as you can see, the paper does come off of it a little bit, but I just kind of leave it on there. I'm going to attach it like kind of one on each side here of the little plunger handle. And again, trying to make sure that like the paper is stuck on there. I'm just going to use a little hot glue. Also, using the twine to wrap that off is going to help attach it too. And then while that is starting to set up, I'm going to go ahead and hot glue the other one here on the other side. And as you see, the 2 of them together make a really fun looking black broomstick. Kind of a smaller model, but I kind of like it. Now, while that's setting up, I'm going to go ahead and start with my twine. Again, I'm going to tie it off here and then just wrap it till you can't see any of where this comes together to make it look like a broomstick. So again, I'm just going to spin it around, super easy, just wrapping it with that. If you didn't want to use twine, I guess you could use like burlap for this part, but I think that the twine actually does kind of add something. It makes it look more like a broom. And as you can see, you could definitely do a 3rd one of those on there. And they have these pampas grasses for fall and Halloween colors like this. They also have them in fall colors. If you wanted to do more of an orange or a goldish yellow, which is broomstick, that would be cute too, depending on your color scheme. I was trying to go more neutral Halloween with these. It goes really well with my coastal decor in my house. So I'm going to hot glue down the end of my twine and trim it off. It looks pretty full, just like that. And then I want to hang it. It doesn't really have a way to hang it, so I'm going to actually make one just by drilling a simple hole in the top. If you don't want to break out the power tools, you could always probably try to figure out something. You could probably always attach some twine with some hot glue or something like that if you wanted to, but I always have my power tools available there at my crafting center, so I just drilled a simple hole and used some Dollar Tree twine to tie an easy little hanger for this that we can then hang on our broom parking that we just DIY'd. Isn't it so cute? It's just really easy and simple. If you wanted to decorate it more, you could, but I wanted them to kind of look like functional broomsticks that you could grab and ride, for Halloween. And so this is how the pampas grass broomstick turned out. I think it's really fun. I love that black pampas grass. It's so spooky. And I hang that on my broom parking as well. So let me kind of show you what that looks like all together. This is it hanging next to the other broomstick that we DIY'd. As you can see, it's shorter, but I kind of like the variety of different sizes and styles of brooms, but I love how it turned out. I think it is really fun. What do you guys think about this? It looks great with my witch's cauldron that I DIY'd recently, right? Hey guys, I would love to see your Halloween DIYs. Check the description of today's video. Be sure you're in our private Facebook group. You can share what you've been making. You can see what everyone else has been making. It's just a fun, free way to share your DIYs with people. Now for the next DIY, I found these great tinsel witch's boots at the Dollar Tree, and I thought, oh my goodness, I need to make these beautiful. Now, I don't think they're beautiful right now. I don't like the tinsel, so all we're going to do is remove it. So I bought two because I thought it would be better to do a pair of witch's boots, right? So it's just a matter of removing all of this pesky tinsel on there. It's usually pretty easy. It's a little bit easier if you cut it to at least get it started, but you're going to get this great cage underneath, which for $1.25 I think is a great value if you want to try to DIY your own little witch's boots. And you know what? After I DIY these, I think they kind of look a little bit like elf boots too. So I might pick up some more of these before the end of Halloween and maybe make them for a Christmas DIY as well. I think that would be fun because these turned out so cute. So I wanted to wrap them with something, but I didn't have any black rope. So I found this at the Dollar Tree hardware section, the diamond braid rope that comes in black and white. And it's kind of cool. I think this is going to make a cool pattern for witch's boots. And the black and white goes great for Halloween. So I start here at the very heel, and I'm hot gluing that rope to the very bottom of it because I know I'm going to have to wrap the other part. I do want it to be level. I'm going to use these as little witch boot planters, and it just turns out so cute. So once I get started, I glued all the way around, and I did glue like my first row here, but kind of once you start wrapping, as long as you keep it tight, it's going to stay on there pretty well. As you can see, there's a little plastic tab sticking out, which actually helps keep the rope in place. But you want to make sure that you get your rope as close together so you don't see any gaps. When I got to this part, I just wrapped it all the way around the boot like that, and I can always do the toe part of the boot separately. It's just how it's made. You kind of have to do that part separately. If I get to an area that has like a lot of plastic or something on there that I can glue it to, I do just for a little bit of added stability. But otherwise, I'm simply wrapping. As you can see, there's a ton of rope on this. I'm going to use one package for each boot. So if you're going to pick that up and you're going to do a pair of boots, make sure to pick up two of these. They also have them in different colors as well, but I thought black and white would be perfect for Halloween because it's going to kind of give me that like houndstooth almost pattern by wrapping this in that rope. And I really like it. I think it turned out so cool. I guess you could always use some black twine or something like that if you had some, but I've never found anything like that from the Dollar Tree. So I go all the way here to the top. Now, I don't want you to be able to see the plastic edges of my cage either. So once I get to the top, I just start hot gluing it to the plastic and kind of to itself and do like another row in there just so you can't see the plastic. To kind of give me a more finished top. And then just cut it and glue it once I get it all covered. Now I just have to do the toe part of the witch's boot. So I'm going to kind of start here where the heel is, start with a little hot glue, and then I can start wrapping it around this section. Now, since it's kind of an odd shape, it is a little tricky. I just made sure to get it kind of pushed in there to the heel. And if you skip a row or two at the very bottom, you're not going to be able to see that when you're standing it up. And the way that the toes are pointed a little bit, it does kind of get a little bit spaced out there, but that's fine. Once I get to this part where it's really pointed, there is plastic there. So you have something to glue to. And I just keep wrapping it, but this time I'm gluing it to the plastic. And I want to keep doing that, kind of attaching it to itself here at the end. So you cover up all the plastic cage and you won't be able to see it. That looks good. I'm going to go ahead and cut that down. We have our first witch's boot. Isn't this so cute? I absolutely adore how these turned out. Even my husband loved these, which kind of surprised me. Now, I used a lot of the rope, most of the rope to make that. So I'm going to open another package because I don't really want to start and stop if I don't have to on this. So same thing. We're going to start here right at the heel cap. And I'm gluing that to the bottom again. That way they're going to be nice and level. They are a little lightweight for vases, and I am going to weigh them down a little bit just to make them a little bit heavier because just with the rope and the plastic themselves, they are not super heavy. Now, if you find that your plastic cage is coming apart, you can always hot glue it together. I noticed that the point of mine was, so I just added a little bit of glue. And again, I'm just simply wrapping my heel Then I start wrapping the entire boot. I'm kind of a pro at this point, and I'm going to speed this way up because it's kind of exactly the same thing I did on the first one. But again, I wanted to make a second one to do a pair. I guess you could do one. One would be cute too if you can only find one of these little tinsel witches boots at the Dollar Tree. But if you can find two, a pair I think is always better. Because it's just like, a pair of shoes. And they're just such a cute little size. They're in with the same tinsel items like the witch's hat and stuff like that, which I love to decorate with those too. So again, I get here to the very top. Once I get there, I can just start hot gluing it to the plastic, and then I do like another row on top to completely mask that part. And then we'll just have to go in and wrap the toe of the boot as well. If you do them one right after another like this, you'll remember exactly how you made the first one, so it's a little bit easier. So again, I hot glued it under the heel and just wrap this around until we get to the very, very end. And again, if you don't get it, like you're kind of going at an angle right here, if you have to kind of skip a little section, I did there at the very bottom. I kind of skipped a row. You're not going to be able to tell because that's going to be the bottom of your boot, right? And I want to fill this with just some very simple flowers from the Dollar Tree that's going to kind of go with the black and white Halloween theme. I'm going to glue down my last piece. Now, let me show you how cute these are. I love them. Aren't they adorable? I really like using that rope. I've never crafted with that before from the Dollar Tree. For the little buttons for the side of the boots, I thought I would use some of the Dollar Tree blackberries. You could also use like black wood beads if you wanted. I liked these because they didn't have a hole in them. When you pull them off, they do kind of tear a little bit, but that's okay as long as you glue that side down. I thought the buttons would look really cute on the side, so that's where I'm going to glue mine. I'm going to do 3 of the blackberries from the Halloween section at the Dollar Tree down the side of the boot. I'm not going to do any laces or anything like that, but this just small detail added just made them so much cuter. Now, do kind of be careful. The berries are a little bit different sizes. They're kind of hard to see, but they kind of are. And again, I'm just going to hot glue these to the other side so like the buttons are on each side of the witch's boots. Just in a simple row like that. And then we can stand them up. Now for the very top, I'm actually going to use some of this faux fur. I was going to use the Dollar Tree black felt, and you totally could for that, for the little cuff here at the top. But then I remembered that I picked up this fur the other day at Walmart. I don't normally shop at Walmart, but I was there for something or other, and I saw this. I think it was only a couple of dollars. They had black and white, and I thought it would be really fun to craft with, so I did pick up some of this, and I thought this would make the perfect cuff for the top of my witch's boot. So I just cut out a strip that would go all the way around, and then I cut it in half because I don't need it to be very big because these boots are not very big. And I'm just going to line the top of it so it kind of has like a fancy little cuff at the top of our witch boot because our little witch is going to be fancy, okay? So I attach a little hot glue on the inside of the rope here and gluing that in where I kind of have enough material to kind of fold it over the top, but not super a lot because I already have the buttons on there. I don't want to interfere with that. And I just kind of hot glue that in place. Super easy. It does kind of give them a little bit of a snow boot feel, but it also gives it luxury with the black fur. That's what I was kind of going for with this, that our witch is super bougie. So again, I just hot glue it on the inside and kind of cuff it over the very top of it to be the very top of our little witch's boot. Just another fun detail that I think made these witch's boots really beautiful. Aren't they looking so cute? For the greenery, I'm just going to use some simple baby's breath from the Dollar Tree again. I like that. It's kind of got a green leaf on it, but I like the little white flowers. I think they're perfect for Halloween. So I have 2 bundles of those, and I'm just going to kind of just try to leave them all attached. They are a little bit taller than what I need for these little boots, but I can always shorten the stem of them. I just use my wire cutters and kind of right where they come together. I'm going to cut the wire right in there and still have to kind of bend it back and forth a little bit. But some baby's breath on this side. I don't know why I like the baby's breath for Halloween. I think it's just really beautiful. It's not super overpowering like some of the Dollar Tree florals. And they don't have a lot, like Halloween florals. They just have like the black roses with like the eyeballs, which you could totally do that too if you wanted to. But I really wanted this just delicate baby's breath. I think it looks good in these elegant witch boots, right? So again, I shortened the other baby's breath and put that in our second boot. And that's when I noticed that they did kind of want to tip over a little bit. So I think I'm going to have to weigh them down a little bit to make them a little bit more bottom heavy because they're just made out of plastic and rope. They're not super heavy. So I'm just going to do that with some Dollar Tree stones just by dumping some here in the bottom until they stand up a little bit better. And I'm glad I did that because I don't want them tipping over on me all the time. That would drive me crazy. And then I'm going to add the baby's breath in there. Try not to add too many stones in there so that you can still get your florals in there. But I think that looks pretty good. And I'm going to display them together side by side like this for a beautiful pair of witch boots. I'm so glad I found those. I wanted to do like a witch boot DIY and I had no idea how I was going to be able to do that because I don't think I've ever seen these before at the Dollar Tree. I was so excited to find them at my store last night. Aren't they so cute? I think that fur element from Walmart really added a nice touch, and I'm so glad I added the little black berries for the little buttons on the side. I guess you could also do buttons too. But very fun for Halloween. I really hope you're enjoying today's video. Up next, we're going to do more of a coastal nautical feel to these Halloween DIYs. And I absolutely love how these turned out. Lots of creative, fun, new ideas. For the first one, you're going to need a Dollar Tree vase and a Dollar Tree candle holder. This one's tinted, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to tint it anyway. And what I want to do is make a haunted lighthouse. So just FYI, the vase that I used was 7 inches to kind of give you an idea of size. I also picked up a battery operated light from Dollar Tree to light up our lighthouse. So the first thing I want to do is cover the vase. I'm going to have it be upside down to be a lighthouse. And I picked up one of these placemats from Dollar Tree. It's black and it's got a pattern with holes in it. So I thought it would be fun because the light would kind of peek through the holes when I light up the lighthouse. And the great thing about this DIY, it's not solar. It's got an on and off switch. So you can use it indoors or outdoors. Now it does have a border on this placemat. So the first thing that I do is just go in and trim that off just so it doesn't, really get in my way when I go to measure for my lighthouse. I want to do a black and white striped lighthouse. At first I was going to do the black placemat and then I was going to add white leather, but I really want the light to shine through kind of uniformly. So I'm actually just going to cover it with this placemat and I'm just going to paint the stripes on it. So I measured exactly how tall my vase was, about 7 inches there, and I just cut out like a sleeve for it. So just kind of need to see how much. I don't want too much overlap. And this turned out so creepy and cool. I love the idea of a haunted lighthouse. So much fun. So that looks pretty good. It can fit on there just like that. But I thought it would be easier to paint the stripes on now before I put it on the vase. So that's what I'm going to do. And that way I can just tape it down with some painter's tape. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not really measuring. I'm just kind of eyeballing what I think looks good. And I'm just going to have it be a black and white striped lighthouse because I think that will look really good for Halloween and go with all of my decor. Not really any orange in today's DIYs. I do use a lot of black, a lot of really creepy stuff. I even bring in some green, which I think is really fun for Halloween. So I'm just using some white acrylic paint and a stencil dauber from Dollar Tree. I love stenciling with these, but I also love painting things like this with them. I find that it really helps with bleeding and stuff like that. And so I'm just kind of sponging that on for my 4 white stripes. Now I am covering, the black with white. So it's definitely going to take more than one coat. I did 2 coats on here. So I went ahead and dried it with my dryer and went back in and did another coat of the white stripe. And the great thing about this being fabric too is that it's going to be really easy to cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut some windows in it, so those will light up as well. Because the top of or the bottom of the vase is clear glass, And the candle holder is glass. Even though I light up the top of it, it should light up the entire lighthouse. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove my painter's tape. I got a little bit of bleeding, but I kind of liked it because I don't want it to look perfect. I want it to look creepy for Halloween, right? So about halfway across, I'm going to cut a window. I found that the best way to do it was to kind of fold it so you can kind of get started here. And I don't really want them to be all the same, but I do want them to be all like in a row. Since it's a quirky project like Halloween, haunted, you could like have the windows not straight in a row. I think that would look good too. And I'm just kind of concentrating on the white lines is where I'm going to put my windows. And I'm just going to do a total of 3. I cut that one a little bit bigger. I didn't really mean to, but I kind of like the fact that they're all a little bit different. Gives a little bit of personality to the lighthouse. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. Now time to try it on the vase. Again, I'm going to have the vase be upside down. I was trying to figure out if I wanted the white stripe on top or if I wanted the white stripe on bottom, and I decided I wanted it that way. So now it's just a matter of gluing it on. I'm just going to use some hot glue to attach it. And since the vase is straight up and down, there's no weird cone shape or anything like that. They're going to have to worry about keeping your line straight or keeping things taut. I just do a bead of hot glue here, lay my vase on top, and I can simply roll this thing on. I had so much fun making today's DIYs. I had to like send some pictures to my son at college. He got a big kick out of them. He thought they were really cool. He's usually my idea guy. I really miss having him around. Now, to tint the windows, I'm going to mix some green paint with some Mod Podge. This is a leaf green. I'll have to go ahead and go grab my green paints because I use a lot of different colors of green on today's DIYs with this project, and I kind of want to let you know which ones they are, just so you know the exact colors. But basically, I just painted it inside the glass so that the light shining through will look green. And I just checked it's Delta Leaf Green for that color. Now this is a Dollar Tree battery operated light. It's got like that plastic on there, but all you got to do is pop 3 AA batteries in there and you have a little light that has a switch that you can use for whatever. I love these. I'm going to sit it on top of the Dollar Tree candle holder. It will light up the top of my lighthouse. And I think it'll look really good too. So I'm just going to make sure that my placemat is not overlapping anywhere. And then we can start putting this together. So that part of the lighthouse looks really good. So we can start working on the top part. And now at first I thought, oh, it's already tinted green, but then I really went hard on that green color on the windows. So I'm definitely going to tint this again. Just a matter of, I got to clean up that sticker on the bottom of it because you don't want that interfering with the light that's going to go through your lighthouse and you might be able to see it. And just making sure it is clean and dry because I did have to use like some Goo Gone on that. And it looks like it's going to work. I tested it out. But again, not really the right shade of green. And I want it to look like almost monstrous, like something ghoulish has happened inside the lighthouse and there's like green slime on the windows almost. So I mixed some more of the leaf green acrylic paint with Mod Podge. So I'm just kind of making my own kind of tint. And I sponge it on with one of these stencil daubers. I kind of want the spongy look on it. I think that makes it look even cooler. And I make sure I get the lip of it as well. Now, these candle holders are pretty common at my Dollar Trees, and it was the perfect size for the top of this project. And I always prefer making a round lighthouse. You could make a square one. I have, but round ones are usually my favorite. I went ahead and did like the bottom lip too, just so you would get full coverage on the candle holder or the top of our lighthouse. So I'm going to try that on. It lights up pretty cool. There's kind of a gap though, since the candle holder goes in at the top, that I thought I could just cover with a strip of that same placemat that we used to cover the lighthouse. I have enough left to do a strip, and it will kind of make the width the same from the plastic top that's white. and kind of make it blend into the light a little bit better so it doesn't kind of go in, because that doesn't really make sense for the design of this lighthouse. So I just cut out a strip. I just need to see about how much I need here. And I didn't cut it super straight, so I'm just going to kind of fold it, even it up a little bit, and then we can go ahead and attach that on the top. And I'm glad I did. It kind of tied the top into the rest of the lighthouse, made it a little bit more cohesive. But I like the black, white, and green. I think it looks really cool. The green kind of reminds me a little bit of Ghostbusters, that kind of vibe. And so I just use a little bit of hot glue. I'm starting and stopping where the little button is to turn the light on and off, which I will put on the back so you won't be able to see it. And it'll be easy to kind of reach back there, turn it on and off. I just made sure that I didn't interfere with that, so it's still going to be easy to switch on and off. And I am digging it so far. I think it looks really good, so I'm going to go ahead and attach it. I just do some hot glue, and actually the hot glue seemed to work really well with the glass to glass. Maybe because it just fit on there so well, there's not a lot of gravity or anything like that. Now it's time to make the base for a haunted lighthouse. I wanted an area that kind of an oval shape where I could put some creatures. And I want the haunted lighthouse to look like it's being attacked by a sea monster. So that's part of my plan. So this is just an oval sign from the Dollar Tree. It's one of the hanging ones, but it doesn't really matter. I just paint mine black to kind of go with my Halloween theme, making sure not to forget my edges. And I'm going to cover this with rocks for the bottom of our lighthouse. So it doesn't matter that there's a couple holes in there. I don't have to patch them or anything like that. I decided to sit mine over towards the left, and I actually just attached it with hot glue. I was thinking I was going to need a stronger glue for this, but it seemed to hold up pretty well. I use Gorilla Glue hot glue, and it seems to be permanent on a lot of things. It works pretty good. Now, I changed my mind on the stones. I decided to go creepy Halloween, so I decided to use the black stones from Dollar Tree instead of like the brownish and gray ones. And I'm just going to cover this entire base with this. I thought the black rocks would look good because that would be something that you would see around a lighthouse, and it would be easier than trying to create like a faux water down here. And the faux water, I thought the blue would kind of take away from my black, white, and green color scheme, and so the black rocks just fit in perfectly. So I'm just kind of scattering them all over, putting down enough hot glue for like 4 of them at a time to make it a little bit easier. And I want to basically cover up all of the space, but it was important to paint it black first just because the rocks are round, you know, you're going to be able to see like little gaps and stuff like that in there. Just a few more around the side here, and then I decided that I wanted some of them to be a little bit taller, so I did do a few like a second layer just to look for a little bit of variety. That looks good. I also thought the Dollar Tree creepy cloth would look really good because it kind of reminds me of a fishnet. And so I got one of the gray ones here, and I wanted to like be over the top of it, which is going to kind of disguise that plastic top a little bit. And then kind of be like longer on one side, the side that the lighthouse is not on. So I just cut off my excess material, and I'm going to kind of swag it down like this. And that's what it looks like so far. Now it's time for a sea monster. I've done a sea monster attacking a haunted beach house on my channel before, so I thought I would try a tentacle again. I picked up this Model Magic at Dollar Tree. It's just the white. I couldn't find a color that I really wanted, and I know that you can paint this and it air dries hard, and so it's so easy to work with. It's like even easier than Play-Doh if you've never worked with this before. I just ball it up and then just kind of roll it in my hands like you would with Play-Doh. And basically I want it to be like the shape of a carrot because I'm going to be doing a tentacle for like a sea monster or a kraken that's going to be attacking the haunted lighthouse. So I thought that'd be fun. So you're going to want a skinny tip and like a wider base. I'm sticking that directly to the fabric to the lighthouse, and doing another rock down here to kind of disguise where it's coming out of the dark rocks. So this is what it looks like so far. I'm just trying to smooth it out a little bit. Now that I have it attached, I don't have to glue it on or anything. It should stay on there just fine. It'll actually harden with the fabric. Now, I wanted to have like little tube feet since it's like tentacles. To get that, I'm just using an ink pen that's not open, and I'm just making little circle shapes. And I'm making it look like it's twisting. So like I just keep twisting which area has the little tube feet. And then I want to paint it. You don't really have to wait for it to dry or anything. You can go ahead and paint it. I'm going to paint it this color. I chose a different color because I wanted this to be almost a neon green. This one is Delta Parsley. As you can tell, it's really close to the green that we stained the windows and the top of the lighthouse with, but it's a little bit brighter. And I'm going to use some different colors of green here too, with other little beachy items that are going to be like attacking our lighthouse. The only tricky part of this was not getting it on the lighthouse placemat. So I just took my time. I used a small brush, and it's okay if I don't get all the way over. As long as I get most of the tentacle covered, I think it's going to look really cool. Now, the one I made before with the Haunted Beach House, I made my sea monster orange. And I thought about that, but I thought it would be a little bit too colorful to do that. And so I decided to switch it up and make a green sea monster this time. It was so fun. I thought about doing more than one tentacle, but with the width of the lighthouse, I think one tentacle is going to be fine for that creepy sea monster look that I was going for. So just making sure it has pretty good coverage, and I'm going to let that air dry. Now for the sea creatures, I'm using some of the Dollar Tree grow creatures that you get in the toy aisle. They have a sea turtle and a crab in this package. So I thought I could use those decorating the rocks like they're climbing up on the rocks out of the ocean. And I wasn't sure what to do with the sea turtle because it was already black. I did feel that it blended in it a little bit, so I did end up painting that one too, but definitely I'm painting the crab. For this one, I'm using Delta Christmas Green is the shade, and the Delta brands are from Target. I'm not sure what the exact colors would be in Apple Barrel, but these were all the greens that I had. So these grow creatures paint just fine. I've never had any problems with them actually like growing or anything like that from the water that's in the paint. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the top and the bottom so you don't see any of that red coming through. And I'm going to have him kind of like crawling up that netting. I thought that'd be fun. I can kind of hook his claws into that. And the sea turtle, I kind of went back and forth, leaving it black or painting it. I do end up painting it. But let me go ahead and put my lighthouse back together. Here's my light on top. Again, this is what it looks like with our sea monster attacking. It's super cute. And then I don't want to hide that, so I kind of leave that area exposed and then draping the netting all over. The sea turtle can be on the rocks, and then the little crab can be like climbing up the netting from the ocean. I think that would look really cool. So I just hot glued down my sea turtle, and then I decided to add some color to it. This is that leaf green that we used for the windows, and I'm just going to paint it a couple of coats with that just to bring out a color of green. And then I decided to distress the crab with that too. Not paint it, but distress it so it's like more than one color of green, just so it looks a little bit better. And I'm glad that I did that. It gave it a lot more character. So there's our little sea turtle and our crab to go along with our sea monster. Just sitting that in there, and this project is complete. We have a haunted lighthouse. Everything came from the Dollar Tree, I'm thinking. Yes. Everything came from the Dollar Tree. And that Model Magic, if you can't find it at the Dollar Tree, I know that Dollar General has it for only $1. So it's even cheaper there. But how creepy and cute is this for Halloween? This is what it looks like lit up. As you can see, it like looks almost like green splatter where I dyed the glass for the top of the lighthouse and for the windows. And it really gives you like a creepy, cool vibe. I love it. And I love that there's no candle or anything. I can just turn it on off. There's batteries that are easy to get to and to change. But what do you guys think about this one? I hope you're enjoying today's video. If you are, be sure to hit that like button. It really helps my videos do better here on YouTube. Okay, next DIY. I picked up a tombstone from Dollar Tree. I kind of got a generic one. It just says RIP because I kind of want it to look like a under the sea grave that's been found that has like all kinds of like ocean debris on it almost. And so I wanted something simple. I didn't want a lot of words, and I did want a cross on the top of it. So I think that is perfect. This is the color that we're going to use on it. It's Beachcomber's Beige by Apple Barrel. And I'm going to make it into a standing sign that I can put, or tombstone that I can put into my house. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the back too, because you might be able to see it, but it doesn't have to be anything special. I'm just trying to cover the black and gray and stuff that's on there. And on the other side, there is glitter, but I'm going to paint that so that's going to kind of blend it in. What I want it to look like is almost like old wood that's been under the ocean for a long time and forgotten about. And it's like very, very weathered was the look I was going for. And these little tombstones from the Dollar Tree paint really well. I've painted them before on a Halloween party that I did where I did pastel Halloween. And I painted them pastel colors. That was really a fun DIY as well. So it is made out of foam, so I am being kind of careful using my dryer. But I did find that I had to use it. I just tried not to get too close to the foam. And I got the edges as well when I was doing the back. And now that I have that done, I can concentrate on the front. I want like seashells. I want mosses and all kinds of funny things on here that it would look like if you pulled it out of the ocean, it's been in there for a long time. That was my goal. I did think about like changing the words on one, kind of personalizing it, but they do such a good job with like the foam molding on here and stuff like that. I didn't really think I'd be able to recreate that very easily. And I was trying not to use my Cricut on this project. So I'm just going all over. I did use a brush for this because as you can see, there's lots of little like nooks and crannies you have to get your paint into. And I'm working a lot harder on the front than I did the back because this is the side that everybody's going to see. I love how this turned out. It turned out so cool. And it was exactly what I envisioned. I was so glad that I was able to find this tombstone sign at my Dollar Tree today. And I was surprised to see that they had Christmas set. Please let me know in the comments below if you want me to start doing Christmas videos. It's really hot in Florida and we're getting ready to have a hurricane. And I'm like, Christmas? No way. But then I noticed that all the other crafters are doing Christmas. So you'll have to let me know one way or another. I like to not skip Thanksgiving, so expect some Thanksgiving videos from me for sure. Now I'm using Antique Wax by Waverly and a chunky brush, and I'm distressing that paint all in one direction, really trying to bring out all the little bump out parts. So like the borders, the letters, the spider web, the little pretty thing at the top, and make it look like a wood grain almost, or a weathered look. Kind of reminds me a little bit of driftwood. And then I went back and forth with my original color just to make sure that I didn't get it too dark anywhere. But it was pretty easy to do. One thing I also noticed is that you can get some pooling of the paint like between your letters and like little cracks and stuff like that. So just be careful that you get that all kind of filled in so it can dry properly. Now for the base, I just picked up a piece of Dollar Tree craft wood and I'm going to paint it to match. So I used just that Beachcomber Beige, just a very thin coat on the top and front and back, and then go back in and distress with that Antique Wax by Waverly. It gives me that perfect driftwood. That looks pretty good. I did go in and carefully dry it, again, trying not to melt it. Now, the reason I wanted a cross on the top is because I wanted to do shell encrusted cross. I thought that would be cool for my Coastal Halloween theme. And so I love to glue down shells with tacky glue. It dries clear. It's really strong. You don't have to worry about melting the foam with hot glue. So I just squirt some in there. And I'm going to fill it in with some of the Dollar Tree shells. These are the tiny ones that come in the glass bottles. I know a lot of you guys, including myself, have been trouble finding these lately at Dollar Tree, but I got a giant jar of like 1,200 of them on Amazon the other day, and it was a really good deal. And I have that linked in my Amazon shop, which is in the description of this video if you need some tiny shells to do some shell encrusting. They work perfect for that because they're so small. So I just glue those in there, let that set up. Don't have to do anything else to it. Now it's time to make it look mossy and mucky, right? So I start with some Spanish moss, and I'm going to do like a little bit in each corner. There's like a little cutout here. I'm trying not to, I don't really want to cover up the words or anything, so I kind of want to accent everything with it. I do like a pile of Spanish moss right here. And Spanish moss and reindeer moss is normally something that you can find at the Dollar Tree. This is the reindeer moss, but I've been having a lot of trouble finding it lately. I don't know why. I know that you can get it on their website, so I don't know if it's a regional thing or what. I know a lot of you guys have said you've had trouble finding it too. I had to break down and go to Walmart and buy both of them, and it's a little bit more expensive, but you do get a lot, so keep that in mind if you need some. I think I'm just down to that lycopodium stuff. That's pretty much all I have left. And the floral moss, that's brown. But I like the reindeer moss and the Spanish moss better because look how cool this looks. I'm trying to mix it up. A little Spanish moss here, a little reindeer moss here. And so it's like two different colors of the moss. Now that I have that on there, I thought I need some more shells. So I'm going to do seashells along the bottom. Again, these are Dollar Tree seashells, just little tiny ones. You can use whatever you have, your shelf stash if you have one like me. I started out with some Dollar Tree shells and then I wanted a little variety, so I decided to start adding some shells that I found at the beach as well. Some fun treasures. I got this pretty one at Sanibel. And I'm even going to put some up here because this is kind of like a fun place I can decorate. I'll do one in the middle and then maybe a couple on each side. And I think it's looking really cool so far. What do you guys think? Doesn't it look old and weathered? It's kind of exactly the look that I was going for on this. And so it's very lightweight. Of course, it's made out of foam. So all I have to do is hot glue it to that wood base and it stands up on its own. And it's going to make a really cool tall sign for my home decor. You could even display this in your like entryway or like your front porch if you had a table or something like that. I think it would do okay out there. But this is how it turned out. I kind of think it's like a pirate's tombstone almost because it was found forgotten in the sea. But the moss and the seashells are definitely my favorite part of the project. Isn't that so cool? I love it. Hey guys, have you checked out my new website yet? It's craftybeach.net. I'm archiving all my YouTube crafts over there. You'll find pictures you can pin on Pinterest to make it easier to remember to go back and make my DIYs. Now, the next project, we're going to be making a haunted dock out of these little wooden signs from the Dollar Tree and the little black mini lanterns and plungers. So I wanted my dock to be black, and I was only able to find 2 of the blackboard signs like this from the Dollar Tree. And so I'm going to use a white one. I'll just paint it. No big deal. I wanted the wood slats to be going this direction, and so I glue them side to side like this to make a long deck. And this turned out amazing. I had this vision in my head. I knew that the black lanterns would be involved, but I absolutely love how it turned out. It's almost like a display tray or a tier tray in the end that I can change up what's on it and stuff. It turned out so cool. So since I painted the one in the middle, I went ahead and painted all of them so they would all kind of match. And I also got some of the black acrylic paint down in the cracks between the boards. So I went back with a brush and made sure I filled that all in just so it's all consistent. I'm going to boost this up because this is going to be a dock. And we're going to decorate it with lanterns and like buoys and all different kinds of stuff. It turned out so cool. I'm so glad I decided to make this DIY. So I got pretty good coverage. I just go over it a little bit more to make sure it is solid black. And I decided to do the sides as well just to make it look cleaner. I'm not going to do anything with the bottom except attach some legs. So I'm going to use the plungers. I picked up 2 of them from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use those to make the light posts for the lanterns. And also to make the dock post legs to stand this up off the ground a little bit to make it into a tray. So these are my 2 plungers. I had to go to 2 Dollar Trees. Of course, the small one by my house didn't have any. But I love crafting with these. It's such a good deal, $1.25 for this size dowel. It's just a matter of removing the stickers. The first one came off easy. The second one decided to fight me a little bit. I'm going to leave them just natural wood like this. because I've got a lot of black going on already with the dock, and I think this looks more natural, something that you would find at a dock anyway, just kind of untreated wood that you would find outside. Now I'm going to measure how big these need to be able to hold up the lanterns, because even though they're mini lanterns, it's going to be about 7 inches. So I'm going to need 3 of those because I have 3 lanterns. And then with the rest of it that I have left over, I can use that for the dock legs. So I just took those to my saw, cut those down, 3 pieces. I left kind of the domed top on the 2 and not on the other one because it was a second cut, but that's fine. I kind of like the fact that they're not all the same. And then this is what I'm left with. So I want to cut off a little part here with a screw. So I'm going to need my dock legs to be about this tall. So I go cut 4 of them. I think 4 is going to be enough for this tray. You could always do more. You could always do 6 if you need to. And then I just give them a quick sand. I'm going to leave these the natural wood color too. I think it's going to be a fun contrast with the black deck of the dock. And I'm glad I did that because, you know, spooky Halloween, and I want it to be a haunted dock. And I tried to find ideas for somebody that had done this or somebody that sells this, and I couldn't find anything. So just out there all on my own with this project, as I do with many projects. So these are the 4 dock legs. It's going to boost it up off the ground. And I didn't want them to be too tall. Since I'm only using 4 of them, I wanted them to be just like a little tray. So I just attached those to the 4 corners with a little bit of hot glue. And then these are going to be my 3 light posts that I'm also going to integrate into like the sides of the dock. I want them to all be in the back so that the lanterns aren't blocking anything and I can hang them on it like that. But I don't have any hooks or anything, but I do have some Dollar Tree nails that are fairly long. So I think they'll be long enough to be able to hook the little lanterns on top. And we're also going to make the lanterns look creepy because they have like a really bright white LED light, which doesn't really look creepy, but I found a way to make them look really creepy for this haunted project. So I just put a nail in a little bit on the top of each one of my plunger dowel pieces to hang that on there. I have 3 of them and I need 3 nails all about the same place. I had 3 of these signs, so I'm going to do 1 of the light posts on each sign, but on these I'm going to do the corner. So I do 1 on the left corner, 1 in the very middle of the middle sign, and then 1 on the right. Now, hot glue seemed to be strong enough for the plastic lanterns. They're not super heavy, but you could always screw in from the other side if you needed to on those, if you wanted to make yours a little bit sturdier. These are the mini lanterns. I love these. They have the batteries in them and everything for $1.25. They come in black and white, I believe. And I'm going to see how I can make them creepy. I wasn't too impressed with the bright white. Like, they would look creepier if they were like yellow or flicker at all, but they're just a white LED light, which I don't really enjoy. One time I got those kind of lights for my Christmas tree and I had to take them all back because I was like, no, I need twinkle. For sure. But just trying them on the nails to see if that's going to work, and it does. Now, they do already have the batteries in them, but I wanted to make them creepy, and I thought the best way to do that would be to take them apart. They have 2 screws on the bottom, 1 on each side. I just remove those and carefully try to pop the bottom off, which is made out of plastic, and everything kind of came out in one piece. Now, I was surprised to find that the panels inside the mini lantern are actually made out of glass. I guess I just assumed they were made out of plastic, but they're actually more high-end than I thought for $1.25. Now, sometimes those Dollar Tree screws can be very tricky, and one was stripped before I did anything to it, and so I was not able to get it out no matter what I tried, but you know what? It's made out of plastic, so we're going to make it work, because I only have 3 of these. So I just bent the plastic back and pulled the candle part out, and again, got my 4 glass panels out of the lantern. And then I'm going to do the same thing here with the last one. I only had a problem with that 1 screw, and I was able to get everything put back together, so in the end, it worked out pretty good. I like the fact that these have batteries in them, because even a lot of the Dollar Tree Plus stuff does not have batteries in it anymore. So that saves even more money, and I think they're so cute with the little faux candles inside. Now it's time to make them look creepy. I thought staining the glass on the lighthouse worked really well, so I'm going to try to do the same thing with this that I did on my haunted lighthouse project. So I used probably a little bit more Mod Podge on this project and a little less paint, but I used Mod Podge, and again, I'm using that leaf green paint by Delta, and I'm just sponging it on with a stencil dauber from Dollar Tree. Now I want it to be thin and tinted, and I don't want to block the light coming out of it. So I just go over all of my pieces here. I have 12, and sponge that on first. And while my paint is still wet, I went back in, folded up a paper towel, and sponged off the excess paint. So it gives me like this cloudy look. I really love how these turned out. They just look so spooky, and you can still see the light through them really well. I'm only going to tint the inside of each one of the glass pieces of the lantern. I thought it would look creepier if the paint was on the inside, and it should hold up better that way too. So I just kind of daub all of them, making sure that I dried them off. And then I flipped them all over. I'm going to use some glass cleaner on this side just to make sure that I didn't get any paint. If I did, it clears it up, and I have just straight glass for the outside of our lanterns. Now it's just a matter of putting them back together. This one was the trickiest because, again, my screw was stripped and I couldn't take the bottom off fully, but I was able to get it back together. I started out kind of struggling to put these in, but then I learned there were little plastic clips in the top of these, and that if you put them in there, it lines things up better. And then once you get your little faux candle in there, that holds all the glass panels in place. And then I'm going to push my little light back in there and hope that it still works. And it did. So I just replaced my screw in this one. There's my first creepy lantern. Didn't that make a big difference? And when it lights up, it's so cool. So again, I'm just going to replace all 4 glass panels. And I'm doing the clean glass side out, the tinted glass inside of the green. And I'm glad I decided to do green on this project too. I just think black and green look so creepy for Halloween. And I love the fact that this is a lighted dock, like a haunted dock. So it's going to go with my coastal decor for sure. This is my last one. By this point, I had figured out exactly where to put these in there. Made it a little bit easier. And you can leave it all together if it's still together like that. Pop it back on. Again, there's only 2 screws on the bottom, so that makes taking them apart a little bit easier than if they would have had all 4. So I think they're looking creepy and cool. I think they're ready to go on their little light posts. I just hang them on the nails. If you had like cup hooks or something like that, that would work well too, to hang your lanterns on. But this is what the haunted dock looks like so far. And now I'm going to do the rest of the dock. For mine, I'm going to use these Dollar Tree wood slices. I know these can be a little difficult to find from Dollar Tree, and you could use anything. You could use their wood stems. You could use sticks from your yard. You could use even driftwood for this. I'm going to do one of the posts where each one of my light posts is. So I just attach them with hot glue again, and then I'm going to do one post in between each one. So I just kind of look to see where I think that they need to go. I didn't measure anything. I attached this all with hot glue, and now we're going to just kind of tie them together. And then I decided, you know what? I need to put 2 back here too, so it kind of makes sense. So I glue 2 here where the posts are missing, and then I can just use the light post for the rope that we're going to tie, which is actually just twine. I traded it up for the thinner twine from Dollar Tree just because I thought it would be a little easier. Tie a knot on there. I'm carefully trying not to yank too much on those. I don't want to disturb my fresh hot glue on those, so I'm gently tying a knot. Doesn't take much to attach it. And you want a little bit of slack in between each one so it kind of sways down a little bit. So I'm going to do that, just tying that all the way across. And it's going to give you that dock feel with your buoys and your rope on the sides, which is what I was going for. Now I'm going to have this displayed where the light posts are in back. So it's going to be kind of like a horizontal tray like this. So that's going to be the front of it that I just did. Just going to burn off any fuzzies here from the twine with my lighter to clean it up a little bit. And it's a little crazy looking, but you know what? I kind of like it. It's a haunted dock. supposed to look a little bit crazy. But I'm just making sure everything is tight enough, and I think it is. So back here, I do the same thing, but I go about halfway up my light post. So that's about the same place that I attached it on the front buoys. And then I have these 2 pieces that I added in between. So I want it all to be about that height. So again, I just tie a simple 1 knot in these, trying to keep the pattern going as I go across here. And you can always tie it first and kind of slide it on. Made it a little bit easier. When I get to the end here, I wanted to make sure this one was kind of going the right way, and I double tie the end so it doesn't come untied. That looks really good. Here's my little hanging lanterns, and I'm loving how this haunted dock is coming together. What do you guys think? I think it's really fun. I just burned off my fuzzies back here, and now we can decorate it. I was trying to think what I could decorate it with. I have one of these little light up ghosts from the Dollar Tree that lights up its eyes all different colors. So I thought that would be spooky and the perfect size. I'm going to put him right over here. And then I'm going to do some more grow creatures from Dollar Tree and some of their sea life creatures, which are also from the toy aisle. They're a great resource for these things at the Dollar Tree. So keep your eye open in the toy aisle for sure. The ones I'm looking for is like the lobster, the starfish, and then I was trying to think a crab maybe, because some of these things were just too small, like an octopus and things that belong in the water really wouldn't make sense, but these things would make sense if they would be like on a dock. And so they are very colorful though, as you can see, so I'm going to paint them to kind of make them make more sense. This is that parsley. This is that bright green that I used for my sea monster tentacle on my haunted lighthouse. I'm going to use that on both the crab and the starfish. Just masking those colors the best that I can. It was a little bit harder to cover that one. And then I switch it up to the leaf green for the lobster, just so they're not all exactly the same color. And again, I'm going to paint the undersides as well, so you don't see any of that bright red. I don't want any other colors besides green and black and white on this project. And a little green crab. Now, my son really loved the fact that I made the crustaceans green, and I told him I made them green because they're zombies. He thought that was really funny. So we have our zombie crab, our zombie lobster, and our zombie starfish, because this dock is haunted. Now it's just a matter of figuring out where to put them. I kind of want to stand my starfish up back here, maybe up against the post a little bit. And then lobster over here, crab over here. I don't have as much room. And I'm going to glue them down just so they don't, they stay in place. A little dot of hot glue. Then I decided I wanted fishing nets. So I'm going to use some of the Dollar Tree Creepy Cloth. This is the one that's ivory, and I think it makes a great fishing net on a smaller scale than the one that they have in the summer at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to have it like go over one of my light posts like that, kind of going over it, but I don't want to cover all my lanterns. I'm just going to partially cover one. So I kind of cut off the excess material. I'm going to drape that on my haunted dock. But again, I don't want to cover up everything. I want to kind of mask the starfish back there. He can be kind of hiding a little bit behind it. But I want you to be able to see the lobster and the crab. So I do move the crab on top of it so that you can see it. And again, it's a crab like in a fishing net. So that looks kind of cool. Now I love it, but I kind of have a hole there. So I'm going to put a skull there. I thought that would be creepy for a haunted dock. So I got a Dollar Tree skull. I don't really like the color they come in. I think they look kind of cheap plastic, so I'm just going to give mine a quick paint distress to make it look a little bit better. I don't care if some of that color shines through, but I'm going to use like a little antique parchment and just kind of sponge that on to make it look a little bit more bone-like. I always paint the Dollar Tree skulls. I just don't like the way that they are. I think they look just kind of boring. Now, I was trying to avoid its eyes and nose, but it was kind of inevitable the way that I was painting it that I was going to get some in there. So I will have to touch those up a little bit. I just used a bronze Sharpie from the Dollar Tree to give me kind of like a brown eye socket, nose, and kind of distress the teeth a little bit so you can see his features a little bit. And I think he's looking way better. I like them painted for sure. I'm going to attach him with hot glue too, right about here. And our haunted dock is complete. I loved putting this together. As you can see, this is how it looks when the eyes turn blue. They flash different colors on the ghost. I always love those. But how creepy are those lanterns? I love it. It's like a great pedestal tray. So I could always switch out decor on here if I wanted to. But the green on the glass of the lanterns was definitely key. This is what it looks like in the dark. As you can see, it's a very like haunted, spooky glow on the dock, which definitely makes the dock look haunted. And I was really happy with how this turned out. The ghost and the skull, you know, more traditional Halloween, definitely need to be there as well. So again, this is what it looks like during the daytime. It's still super cute. And lit up at night, it's super spooky. I also wanted to show you how it looks where the lights are blinking on the ghost. This is what it looks like. I love the fact that it changes colors. I think that's really fun. Okay, for the next DIY, I picked up one of these mossy skulls from the Dollar Tree in green. And I got a really funky piece of driftwood that I found at the beach. And I thought we could do something cool, something that like washed out of the ocean. A mossy skull. Isn't it so cool for $1.25? Now, this is a really weird piece of driftwood. I love it though. But as you can see, it didn't really want to stand up too much. Maybe because it was too round. And I definitely had one side that I wanted to decorate. So I used a pair of pliers to try to even it out a little bit on the bottom to see if I could make it a little less tippy. It didn't really work though. It was still a little bit tippy. So I'm just going to attach some wood to the bottom. You're not really going to be able to see. This is just a 5-gallon paint stirrer stick that I have from Walmart, but you could always use a ruler for that. And I just cut a little panel down to be able to make it stand up. I'm going to attach it to the bottom of my driftwood, just a simple base, and that really helped it. Now, I did have to glue it some more just because it's such an odd shape that I'm attaching it to, but I was able to get it set up and flat there on the bottom without destroying this great piece of driftwood. Isn't this so cool? And I want my mossy skull to be about halfway, maybe kind of leaning to one side. So I attached that to my driftwood with hot glue as well. And I'm going to be covering it with some Spanish moss and reindeer moss and stuff too to make it look really creepy. But definitely wanted this to look like something that washed up from the sea. Something really cool. And I love the moss. I think that is going to go really well with the different mosses we're adding to it. So this is Spanish moss. I just kind of grab a bundle and just start hot gluing it on here. I do a little to each side. I like that. It's a little wild, but you can always go back and kind of trim it up later. And then anywhere where I have like a little hole in the driftwood, I added some of that as well. My skull wanted to go back a little bit, but as long as it's glued on, I'm totally fine with it. It can kind of look whatever direction it wants. I also add a little bit of it coming out of his teeth because I thought that would be cool. And then I'm going to do a little moss here like on this little crack in his skull. And I love these. They have them in black and green. I've DIY'd both now. And I think it's just a really good value. It's definitely the quality you'd pay more for like at Target Dollar Spot for sure. Now this is the reindeer moss. I love how the green matches the green moss on the skull. So I'm going to kind of scatter that around my driftwood piece as well. And this is going to make just a really fun piece. You could make it as coastal as you want it or not coastal if you want. But I was definitely going for the coastal Halloween feel on this one. So I'm going to decorate mine with some sea creatures and seaweed and stuff like that. I do want there to be lots of moss. So I just kind of keep adding it until I'm happy with it. I really like the idea of using moss like on the cracks of the skull too. So I switch it up from Spanish moss to reindeer moss, kind of going down the back of his head for a little variety. And again, if there were like any holes in the driftwood, I have a little bit of the moss like peeking out. Really kind of looks like seaweed. I even thought it would be fun to put like maybe some in his eye socket. Maybe some of the reindeer moss coming out of his eye just to make him look really creepy. I wish the mouth opened. That would make him perfect, but he's pretty perfect already. I'm going to do a little bit more Spanish moss here on top of his head for extra creepy factor. And I really love how he's turning out. Again, I'm going to trim up a little bit of that crazy Spanish moss, but that's what it looks like so far. Now, this is some shore living greenery that I got this year that has like the brown tones. I like to save these for fall, but it's got like all these different coral and seaweed pieces on the seahorse picks from the Dollar Tree shore living line. And so I'm going to use a couple of those for some seaweed. I think that's a great source. They have all these different kinds. And you know what? This one had like a whitish seahorse on there. So I could do a little ghost seahorse as well. So I'm going to use that too. I really love this little piece. It's really cool. So I kind of like find a little spot to put it, hot glue that, kind of like growing out of the driftwood. And then these kind of look like seaweed. They're a little long though, but you can always just shorten them just by cutting it exactly how long you want it to be. The seahorse already had wire on there, so I thought I might as well take advantage of it. I just cut it a little bit shorter, and the driftwood was pretty soft. Soft enough I could just put the wire right down inside and make the seahorse be right here next to the skull. A little bit more greenery with this one. This one was a little tall, so I kind of cut it in half so I could use both pieces. And I do open up another package of the greenery too, just to even it out, add a little bit more greenery too. They do have this in like the green seaweed and stuff with the blue seahorse. If you only have that one, I think it would work well too. But definitely a shore living item I stock up for that I try to use all year long for coastal decor. So this is my second bundle. It's the same exact one. It had a white seahorse on it as well. I'm only going to use one seahorse though. I'll save the other one for later. I just wanted some more of this great like seaweed material. I thought about like wrapping that around him, but I decided just to kind of glue it behind him. You know how little seahorses hang on to seaweed with their tails? They're so cute. And I just add a little bit more until like both sides are kind of even with the amount of coral and seaweed they have. Then I'm going to use some of the grow animals from the Dollar Tree toy section. I wanted the crab out of this one. And it's bright red. I want it to be a ghost crab, which we actually have those at the beach here. I think they have such a fun name for Halloween. So I definitely had to incorporate a ghost crab and a ghost seahorse in this project, I guess. So I just painted bright white acrylic so it gives me that ghost factor. And we're going to add that to the driftwood as well. So really I used a free piece of driftwood, $1.25 for that Mossy Skull, 2 bunches of the shore living greenery, and then like a little grow animal here. So everything was from the Dollar Tree except for the moss because I just haven't been able to find it there lately. So I glue my little ghost crab on this side, and I think that is the perfect final little creature for our little driftwood wreath. I do give the seahorse a little bit brighter white to make him pop like the crab does against all the seaweed to give him that ghost factor. He was already kind of white. And then I did notice there was a few places like right here on his chin that the felt had kind of came off a little bit there for manufacturing. So I just add a few more pieces of moss here and there to kind of cover that up. You could go as much moss on the skull as you want, but I like the fact that I added different kinds of moss to it. I think that makes him look way more interesting. And let me show you how he turned out. Our little mossy skull on some driftwood with some little ghost creatures on the side. Very cool. I think this would look great like just on a shelf with your decor. It will also make a really interesting centerpiece for Halloween and definitely has a lot of style, I think. What do you guys think about this one? I think he's really fun. Hey guys, I would love to see your DIYs. What have you been crafting? Be sure to share it in our Facebook group. I have a link in the description of today's video if you haven't joined yet. It's an easy way for you to share your DIYs, get great ideas from everyone else. Okay, the next DIY is going to be super easy. I picked up 2 glass bottles today at the Dollar Tree, and I really liked the shape of them because what I want to do is make like a sand timer, like a Halloween sand timer. I thought it would be a fun and unique idea for some decor. And you know how the hourglass, it goes from one to the other? I thought these were the perfect size. So I just removed the tag from the bottom. They're clear glass, which is exactly what I wanted for this project. And I don't really need the corks for this project, so I'm going to attach them like mouth to mouth on the bottle so the sand can go from one to the other, just like an hourglass. They were exactly what I was looking for. I was so excited I found them at the Dollar Tree. Now for the coastal bit, I'm going to be adding sand. So Dollar Tree sand. And, you know, Crafter Square has these little funnels as well, which makes filling things like this with sand way easier without making a mess. Now, mine's not going to be an accurate sand timer because the opening between the two bottles is actually kind of large, but it's kind of fun to play with and it's a fun piece of decor. So I just put as much sand in there as I thought would work. And then since I'm doing glass to glass, I decided super glue would probably not be strong, or super glue would probably be necessary because I didn't think hot glue would be strong enough and I didn't have any E6000. So I used some of these little individual super glue and I just go around one of them carefully, trying not to get glue inside the bottle. And then I stand the other glass bottle on top. Now I did have to like kind of hold it in place to get it to match up perfectly without slipping to one side or the other. You kind of have to really make sure that you have it on there perfectly before your glue sets up because that super glue works really well. And since it's such a tight seal, I don't think I'll get any leaking or anything like that. For a little bit more coastal decor, I'm adding some twine. So right there at the seam, once my super glue set up, I start just winding the twine around it. It's going to cover that seam. It's going to give a little bit of twine, and it probably will help hold it together even better. So I just kind of wrapped it around until you couldn't see the lip of either one of the bottles anymore, and just hot glue my twine down and cover that up. Now it's just a little hourglass at this point, but I'm going to make it Halloween decor for Coastal Halloween, so I'm going to add some Halloween items to it as well. First, I just burnt off the fuzzies here. This was such a fun idea. I really love how it turned out. Now, I was trying to think how I could decorate the glass with something fun for Halloween, and I decided to use some of the rub-on transfers. And then I'm also going to use a little spider ring to go on the section in the middle. Now, these are the only spider rings I can find at Dollar Tree, the ones with the jewels. But it's really easy just to paint the jewel black with some acrylic paint. And now you have a creepy black spider to go there in the middle. And the ring should come in handy as well. Now, these are the rub-on transfers. I couldn't remember if these work on glass. And they actually did. So I'm going to do some like bats and skulls on here. Fun Halloween items. And whichever side's up is going to be like the right side up of these, I guess. And so I tried to do things that didn't really matter if they were upside down or not. I just scrape this on there. Just make sure it is down before you pull off your plastic. My ear didn't go, so I just put it back on there and scrape it on there, and you can't even tell. So I flip it over for the other side. I do a little bit smaller bat on this side, so I'm going to add another creature to it too to kind of balance it out. But I'm going to have like a smaller bat here. I don't know what works better, like using a scraper like this or just using your fingernail. With the glass being kind of round, it might work better just using your fingernail. I didn't have a popsicle handy. And so I'm also going to do a little skull. It was part of a skull candle on that same set. And I'm just going to cut out the skull from it. And I think that's the perfect size to finish out this side of our little sand timer, a little hourglass. And again, scraping that on, making sure it's good and down. Now for the middle, I'm just going to pop on the spider ring right around the lip there where the twine wraps around. I don't even have to glue it on. It stays on. And it's a fun decor piece that is coastal, Halloween, and it's fun to play with. And the sand goes straight from one bottle to the next. This is how it turned out. It was really easy to do. So keep a lookout for a bottle like this at Dollar Tree. I just got them at my Dollar Tree today. So I think it's something that they should have. You could always use a different size bottle as well, as long as it's got like kind of a long skinny neck on it like that. And they're both exactly the same. I love those DIYs. Up next, we're going to go big, bold, and spooky. These are going to be really large Halloween statement pieces that you can use for a Halloween party or just for really fun Halloween decor for the trick-or-treaters. Enjoy. So for the first one, it's really easy. I found this great tray at Dollar Tree. Now it says it's glow in the dark, but it reminds me of a moon because of course it's round and it's got bats all over it. So this project is so simple. All I'm going to do is I flipped it over and I am just using some ivory. I think this is antique parchment, acrylic, and one of my stencil daubers from Dollar Tree. I love these, and especially for a moon because I get this weird mottled pattern by going over it with a coat of paint. I don't want to get full coverage, but I want most of it to be ivory to give me that moon background. Now, the tray originally was glow in the dark. I'm not sure exactly if it's still glow in the dark after the changes I made to it. I'm going to have to test it out. I do another glow in the dark project today, though, that does work. And so this is what it looks like with just the coat of ivory behind it. But of course, the moon is going to have like craters, like some darker spots. So I switch it up. This is Beachcomber's Beige, I believe. And I am doing the same thing, just kind of trying to find the areas that I didn't have any of the ivory paint and just put some craters on there to give a little bit different colors, but very subtle, like the moon looks. And then I decided I wanted a little gray too. I didn't have any, so I just simply mixed a little bit of black and white together. And I'm just going to give a few gray craters too, just to provide a few little darker spots. And I think that's looking really good so far. I'm going to give it a quick dry, and then I'm also going to DIY the other side to make it look better. Now, as you can see, it's super shiny right now. You can really tell it is plastic, makes it look like, a food tray, which is what it is. So I go over the entire thing with some matte finish Mod Podge. I get those little bottles of Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree. It's a great deal because you don't have to worry about them drying up. They're a nice, perfect size for crafting. And then I just go all over again with just a stencil dauber and try to get that matte finish that I'm looking for my moon. Now I'm going to make this as a sign that I just lean up against something on a table, but you could totally hang it. I think hanging it with like Command adhesive strip or something like that would be really great, but this would be great for a party. You could even use this for an outdoor decoration. I think it would hold up well outside. But this is how it turned out. My little bats on a spooky moon for Halloween. I told you that this one was going to be easy, and check this out. Doesn't that look cool? I'm so glad I visited the Dollar Tree yesterday because I saw these and I was like, moon. Oh, this would make a perfect moon. And I was really impressed that my store had a ton of Halloween, fall, and Christmas. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps. Okay, for the next DIY, this one's going to be a really large life-size Halloween decoration. We're going to start out with a laundry basket from the Dollar Tree. It doesn't matter which color you get. This is going to be the base for like a skeleton reaper. I'm also going to be using a Dollar Tree paper towel holder. So what I want this to be, the base to hold up a broomstick to make my skeleton body. It's going to be like, probably about 5 feet tall in the end. It's pretty large. And the thing that I'm going to do to attach this is just use zip ties. So I picked up some zip ties from Dollar Tree and I start with 4. So I thought 4 would be plenty, but after constructing it, I had to go back and add more. So I'm going to be making another life-size project today and you'll be able to see exactly how many I added. But basically, see how I have the different slots? I did 4, 1 in each corner to start with, but then I had to go back. And on the back of the Skeleton Reaper, I had to do a zip tie in every single slot. So keep that in mind. You're going to need it to be attached strongly because the laundry basket's not that heavy. I needed a little bit more reinforcement there in the back to hold my Skeleton Reaper up. And so I started with 4, but definitely added to it. So this is what it looks like at this point. And we're going to start putting this together. I picked up a Dollar Tree broomstick and I'm going to attach that to the paper towel holder. You're going to want to attach it with duct tape is what I picked up from the Dollar Tree. Now, again, I had some stability issues on this one, so I did go back and cut a hole right there where the broomstick comes in and put the little screw part down into it to make it more stable. but then I had to re-duct tape it. So this was me originally putting it together with 3 pieces of duct tape. I was inspired to make this based on a TikTok that I saw. And of course, TikToks are very short. They make it look really easy, but then of course, it didn't really work that well logistically. So I had to go back and make some tweaks. Now for the mask, I picked up one of these from the Dollar Tree. I was lucky enough to find a white hooded mask. I noticed these come in different colors. It doesn't really matter because I'm actually going to paint mine anyway. I like the fact that it's distressed and stuff like that. I am going to paint it though to match the skeleton hands that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I noticed there was a little elastic strap in there, which really didn't serve me any purpose. The hood definitely does, but not the strap. So I just removed that carefully. And I want to try to match the skeleton hand. So I picked up 2 skeleton hands from Dollar Tree. I like the finish of these better than the ones that are really glossy and like tannish. But you can always paint them if that's the only ones that you can find. And I'm going to try to match that color. So I mix a little antique parchment and some beachcomber beige together to give me a great bone color. And I'm just going to go over the skeleton. I like the fact that it was distressed, but again, I need the skull and the hands to match a little bit, right? So I'm just kind of dragging this all over with a sponge dauber. That way I get a very thin coat. You can still see the distressing kind of coming through it. I did struggle a little bit trying to keep it off of the hood on this project, so I did have to do a little touch up. Just be careful around the edges if you paint yours. I did go in with a smaller brush to try to get closer to the edge. It did help me, but I don't mind like a little bit of the black showing through, like especially around the teeth area and stuff like that. And again, this is just a mask that you would wear for Halloween. And so logistically, I'm trying to make it into like a craft project. Now, one thing I did notice is when I put this on my project, the back of his head is flat, you know, because there's nothing really there to fill it out. I'm thinking that closer to Halloween, I will like pop a black balloon or something in there to make the back of his head look good too. Because right now he's kind of got a flat head at the moment. But I think that would be an easy way to fix it. Because you're going to be able to see through the eye holes and the nose holes, you want something black in there. So that's why I'm thinking a black balloon would be good. But I got that all painted and touched up. I think the hands are perfect and ready to go. I do want to make arms for my little skeleton reaper. I keep forgetting that word, reaper. And so I'm going to attach it to a fun noodle. I'm also going to decorate him with some of the Dollar Tree chains. This one is the glow in the dark one, which is cool. But I do want it to look a little bit metallic, so I'm going to paint that one too. I thought he could hold it or I could put it around his neck, something fun. And so I'm just going to slightly distress this one because if this does still glow in the dark, I think that would be cool. So I just take some silver metallic paint. I've been noticing Dollar Tree getting a lot of metallics in, so you can probably find this at Dollar Tree too. I'm really impressed with their new paints. As you'll see, I even do a glow in the dark paint from Dollar Tree today in one of the projects. But I am just going all over with that silver metallic and just slightly distressing it, letting that glow in the dark come through, but giving it a little bit more of a chain vibe with that. I picked up this silver metallic paint at Dollar General, so that can be a good source for it too. And as you can see, I'm just barely distressing it. So like half of the white glow in the dark comes through and half of it has just like a little bit of metallic feel. And this was just personal preference. They do, I think sometimes have this in more of a metal look, but I couldn't find it in any of my Dollar Trees. So I picked up the glow in the dark one. But I think the chain is definitely going to go with a skeleton like Reaper feel. And again, I think the hands are perfect. I don't have to do anything to them. To attach them to the fun noodle, I'm going to use zip ties. I thought I'm going to need probably 2 per hand, and the plastic on these from Dollar Tree is pretty thin. So to poke holes in it, I'm just using one of those tiny screwdrivers and just pushing it through. And I kind of shake it back and forth a little bit to give me more of a horizontal cut because the zip ties are that shape. So it'll be easier for me to put these through. So I poked two, so like the hands will be steady. I don't want them like flopping around. And I just simply put the zip tie through like that, making sure I get it going the right direction so it will work. And then for the other one, I reverse direction. That way I can have one going one way and one going the other way. So we're going to do the same thing here with the other skeleton hand. For the arms for the skeleton, I'm using a Dollar Tree fun noodle. On the TikTok that I watched, they cut the fun noodle in half and attached it with zip ties. I'm going to try a different approach, which I think will work a little bit better and kind of give my skeleton reaper a little bit more of a back to go with his like shoulders in the final project. So again, I put one going one direction and one the other. This is the pool noodle that I got. It's white, doesn't matter. If you could get a black one, that would be great, but you're not going to be able to see it, so it doesn't really matter. Now, this is so easy to poke a hole into. I just use a screwdriver, poke a hole in my pool noodle, and then I'm going to pull it through and zip tie that. I'm glad I decided to do two because I was able to get it on there just right. Now, I think sometimes Dollar Tree has the skeletons that have the wrist attached. And if you're able to find that, you could just slide that down inside the pool noodle. I wasn't able to find those, and I think they might be a little bit smaller. And I definitely wanted my hands to be rather large to go with the large scale of the project and for the skull mask there that you see. So I just zip tie those, cut off the excess strip, and it's still attached. So here is the other end of my foam noodle, and I'm going to do the same thing. I just kind of try to figure out where I should poke a hole. Kind of hard to see where you poke a hole on that. You kind of have to feel around for it. And zip tie this one on. What I'm going to use for the shoulders of the skeleton reaper is a Dollar Tree hanger. It's going to give that perfect shoulder shape. And I'm also going to be able to attach this pool noodle to that to attach the arms to the project. I want them sticking out like he's either trying to hug you or get you for Halloween. So I do end up duct taping this to the hanger to make it a little bit more stable. But this is what it looks like so far. Our little skeleton arms. And Dollar Tree also has hangers if you don't have any extra hanging around. So I picked up some black ones. I think you get 7 there for $1.25. And all I'm going to do is simply put it through the hanger like this, where the arms will stick out each side. Now, friction does kind of keep it in place, but I want mine to be stand up and not like tilt down at all. I'm going to do another life-size project today where I do have it tilt down a little bit, so that's a little bit different in the projects. Since I want this one to stay up, I'm going to use some Dollar Tree duct tape, and I'm going to just duct tape that in place. I'm just making sure that my arms are the same length. I have it in there exactly where I want. You can kind of see how much back I want this project to have by how far I stuck it through the hanger. So I just cut off a piece of duct tape. I also picked up the duct tape at Dollar Tree from the hardware aisle, and I'm just going to kind of duct tape this in place. I use a lot of duct tape on this project just to try to make it a little bit stronger. I would love to use these projects outdoors, at least for Halloween night. They're not super stable unless you weigh the bottom down a lot to be outside. So I'll probably only put them outside for like maybe one night. But if you wanted yours to be outdoor decor, you could just try to find something to weigh down the laundry basket at the bottom. And I think that would totally work for you. This is more for an indoor decoration or for a party, I guess. So what I did was I slid it down to about the sticker, the barcode there on my broom handle, and I duct taped the little hanger to the broomstick. I kind of forgot to record that part, but that is how I put that part together. Now for the cloak of our little skeleton reaper, I'm using a Dollar Tree black tablecloth, just a plain black plastic tablecloth. I kind of find the very center of it, poke a hole in there with my fingers, and I'm just going to simply put that over the top of my broomstick, making that come over the skeleton arms. And so long ways coming from behind to towards you. That way it's long enough for the front and the back. It's a perfect length. This is what it looks like right now with the little skeleton hands peeking out at the sides. As you can see, this is a really large project. Then I went in with some duct tape and I just kind of doubled it up and taped the sides. I did that about 3 or 4 times all the way down to the bottom so that the sides of the cloak are not open, and it kind of keeps everything together. I'm not going to cinch mine or anything with the waist, but I thought it would look even better if I covered it with some of the Dollar Tree creepy cloth. I was actually able to find it in black this time at my Dollar Tree. Usually I can only find gray. I think gray would look good too, but since that tablecloth looks cheap, I mean, look at it. I think that if we put this creepy cloth over it, I'm going to use a total of 2. We can make it look a little bit better. So I find that middle part and I just put that over the broomstick and I drape it like that down both of my little skeleton arms. Super creepy, but then I thought I needed another, so here is another creepy cloth. And for this one, I want it to be longer in the front because I want it to go all the way to the ground. I kind of find how that would be and kind of just put it over the broomstick as well, draping that around, kind of overlapping what I did to the arms. So this is what our little skeleton reaper is looking like so far. Let's go ahead and pop on his head. This is the part that I said that would be great if you put a black balloon in there maybe, just so the back of his head is not flat. But it looks great from the front. And there it is. So now we can add his chain. I decided, since mine was needed a little bit more stability, to hang mine around my skeleton reaper's neck like this. And again, I did make those changes by poking the hole in the laundry basket and adding more zip ties to make him a little bit stronger so that he does not tip over. Here is a view of our little skeleton. I love him. He's super creepy. My husband got a kick out of him. My son is visiting from college this weekend to see hurricane damage, and I think he's really going to love these. Here's a little bit closer view of his torso and the skeleton face. I'm so glad I decided to paint him. I think he looks a little bit better this way. But a creepy skeleton reaper to greet your trick-or-treaters. I think this one turned out really fun. I had so much fun DIYing this. Now for the next DIY, this is going to be really easy. I picked up a Dollar Tree chair cover of a skeleton rib cage. And since it's made out of this great plasticky material, I thought this would be great for an outdoor pillow for my bench next to my front door for Halloween. As you can see, it's really large, which is what we're going for, impact pieces on today's projects. So I just take an old bed pillow. I had about 2/3 of an old bed pillow left over because this one is so large, it's going to take quite a bit of polyfill. But they also sell polyfill at the Dollar Tree now, but it would take several packages of it for sure. And I love doing this with old pillows. I never throw them away. I always save them for their polyfill. And I just start filling it up until it gets nice and full. It's not going to be super firm, kind of more of a decorative pillow, but I do want it to be a little bit soft. And I just love this material for doing this. As you can see, it's open at the bottom. So it's just perfect for a pillow. All I have to do is close that to have a no-sew pillow. That's when I realized kind of how big this was. So adding more polyfill to make it look like a pillow. And then I just simply take some hot glue. I did half of it at a time. I put hot glue there on the seam and just push it together. Couldn't be any easier. This is probably the easiest no-sew pillow from Dollar Tree I think I've ever done. And I think it's going to hold up really well outside being made out of that material. And I like the colors on it too, just being plain black with like a 3D version of a skeleton torso on there. I normally put my life-size skeleton out front, but he's had a lot of damage over the years. I've had to reconstruct his elbow and stuff like that. I'm not sure if he's fit to put out this year, but if so, I think he might look cute sitting next to this great pillow. They also have one in the chair cover that is a jack-o'-lantern. So if you'd rather like the bright orange jack-o'-lantern face, you could totally do that with that one as well. But I was kind of going for a black and white color scheme mostly for today, except for a witch that I DIY. Isn't that so cute? I love it, and it's nice and large. Hey guys, have you visited my new website yet? It's craftybeach.net. You can pin my projects that I make here on YouTube on Pinterest so you can remember to go back and make them. Little outdated because of the hurricane, but I will get back to that, I swear. Okay, for the next DIY, we're going to be making a life-size witch. So this is the changes that I made. So again, I got a Dollar Tree laundry basket, and I just use a razor blade to cut a hole big enough for the broomstick, just to put the like little screw part of the broomstick in there to make it more stable. I also picked up a Dollar Tree paper towel holder. And so this one, I'm experienced with how to make these stable. So this one I'm going to make correctly. So if you just make the skeleton one, use the advice from this one because I did have to go back and make some changes, right? So again, I'm going to start out with like my 4 corners here of my zip tying it to the laundry basket. As you can see, that paper towel holder just fits on there perfectly like it was made for this. And I do those 4 zip ties. Now this is the reinforcement. I find them to be a little front heavy depending on how I decorate them. And so I find that if I put a zip tie every single one, at least on the back, it's going to make it more stable. It's going to hold it closer to the laundry basket. Now, if you're not using a Dollar Tree laundry basket, if you're using a round laundry basket that is a little bit heavier, you might get a little bit heavier base. I didn't realize exactly how lightweight these are. They are pretty lightweight. So anything you can do to make it more stable, but it provides a great height to make these life size. And this skeleton, I think, is even taller than me. So again, I picked up another Dollar Tree, a broomstick, just a plain one. I'm going to pop the broomstick down into it. See, I just put the screw part down inside. And it's also really important to have your paper towel holder on the front like this. See, I have all the zip ties on the back, and then I have the paper towel holder on the front. So it's keeping it from tipping over towards the front. And I just attached that with 3 pieces of duct tape. So this is what it looks like so far, our life-size witch DIY. Now, again, we need to make the shoulders, the arms. I'm going to use another Dollar Tree ruler and another Dollar Tree foam noodle. I do make the arms a tiny bit different this time because I don't have any witch hands. So you're not going to be able to see it underneath of her witch's cloak. So I just kind of wedge it in there like that. So they will lean down a little bit more than the skeleton that's trying to grab you. They do still stick out a lot though. And then that's going to be the shoulder. And I just left it in there with friction. No duct tape this time for the shoulders and the arms for my witch. But basically that's all there is to it. Except for the fact we're going to be using like a milk jug for the witch head. So this is going to get in the way when I go to put it on my broomstick. So I'm trying to find a way just to pop it off. I found the best way to do it was just a pair of pliers and just break the plastic. Now I can go in and attach it. So as you can see, I make it go over. So the hanger is on the front. The fun noodle goes around the back. And then I just use 1 piece of duct tape to attach that to my broomstick, kind of lining it up with a sticker on the broomstick again, like that. So I have plenty of room for the milk jug that we're going to use for the witch's head. For the cloak, I'm also using a Dollar Tree black plastic tablecloth, just one. And I'm going to use it lengthwise towards the front and the back to make it long enough. And then just have the shorter parts of the rectangular tablecloth be for the sleeves for the cloak. So this is what our witch looks like so far. So very similar construction to the skeleton reaper that I did. Again, I take duct tape and about 4 times down each side, I just taped it so it is closed on the side. A quick little no-sew cloak. I'm going to use 2 of the Dollar Tree creepy cloths in black to make it look better. I think you could also use, I've seen people use like weed block and stuff like that too. If you can find that at Dollar Tree, it looks kind of creepy too. But I'm a big fan of the creepy cloth. So I find the halfway point and then the very center, and I just find that, put it over the broomstick. It's open like this, so you don't have to cut a hole or anything like that. Drape that over the sleeves of our witch for our witch's cloak. And we're also going to have a cape for our little witch too, that I found at the Dollar Tree. Now for this one, I want it to be longer in front. I want it to go all the way to the ground for my second creepy cloth. So I kind of measure that And then about halfway here, I just put it on, draping the rest of it along the back. And it looks really creepy. It just takes that cheap Dollar Tree plastic tablecloth and makes it look a little bit better. So this is what it looks like so far. And I'm a little creeped out because I swear I just saw orbs on that video, and I'm doing Halloween decor and seeing ghost orbs. Not cool, man. Not cool. For the cape, I found this at the Dollar Tree. It was in with the costumes, like the witches' hats and stuff. So I picked up a witch's hat. I also picked up a witch's cape. It's child size, so it's not real big, but I think it's going to work. I just put it here along the back of our witch's cloak and simply tie it on the front. It's just going to provide a little bit more texture. It's made out of a satiny material, so it makes it look a little bit, improves the look of the tablecloth a little bit better too. And then this is what I'm going to use. Nobody drinks cow milk in my house, so I had to use my tea container, but it's just a gallon container like for milk. And I'm going to paint it with some of the Dollar Tree glow-in-the-dark green paint. I just have to simply remove the labels from my milk jug or my tea jug. I found that the best way was to soak it. I tried using a little Goo Gone, but the stickers were on there pretty well. And, you know, the milk jug material is pretty thin, so I didn't want to damage it in any way. So I did take it to the sink and run it under hot water, and I was able to get my labels off pretty well. And we're going to simply paint this green to make a witch's head. I've seen lots of witch head milk jugs that like people hang from trees and stuff at Halloween. So I thought I could make a life-size witch with a milk jug. So this is the paint. It's a little bit bright green that I would like for a witch's face. But since it glows in the dark and it actually works, I think that I will just leave it this color. I just take a stencil dauber because I want it to look like just even coverage all over. It kind of gives me like a just, you know, sponge finish. And even though I don't have to go over the entire milk jug, I do just for completeness sake. I'm going to be adding witch hair, and a witch's hat to this DIY to make her even more fun. And I even went online, tried to see how other people had done their witches' faces because I kind of suck at freehanding stuff like that. But if I have a guide to go with, like the face that somebody else has made, I can do it really easily with paint pens. So it's going to be upside down. So the top of the milk jug is going to be the neck of the witch, and the handle is going to be the nose of the witch. So that part with the handle is going to have to be the best part painted. I did know that there was a sell-by date on there, though, so I take some fingernail polish remover, and that comes off really easily because that was going to be impossible to paint over with just one coat of paint. I'm also going to go ahead and take the little plastic ring off of the milk jug because I don't need that. It's going to get in the way, especially with painting it, so just trying to cut that off. And again, just going to paint everything with that green paint. I wasn't sure, since I did such a thin coat, if it would glow in the dark because I've never used a glow in the dark paint before, but I was so impressed that it did. So again, this part's going to be the face where I paint the eyes. There's going to be the nose. We're going to do a mouth, and you don't have to do a mouth. You can just do eyes if you'd like, but I wanted to do a funny expression on my witch to make this DIY project really whimsical. So just trying to make sure everything is covered, and again, that the face part is really covered. It was a little tricky to try to paint like on the sides and the inside of the nose, but I wanted to kind of just get everything that green color. And, you know, I don't actually mind this color for a witch's face. I think it's really kind of cute. In my last Halloween DIY video, I did a lot of black, white, and green Halloween projects for Halloween, and I think they turned out really cool. So for the face, I use a black paint pen. I'm using the Posca paint pens. They're my favorite. You can get them on Amazon pretty cheap. I have them linked in my Amazon shop in the description of today's video. I highly recommend them. I'm going to do an arched eyebrow over here. Now, milk jugs are not symmetrical. See how one side's higher than the other? But that's going to be fun because it'll also add to her expression, right? I do another high arched eyebrow over here and just kind of doubling them up to make them a little bit thicker. And that's going to help make like her expression be kind of funny, right? Now the eye sockets are going to be a little different too because this side's a little bit lower, but that's just going to be where her eye stops. So I do like a little cheek mark there going all the way up to where the milk jug kind of changes and kind of do like a little square there almost. I do want it to be rounded, but you're kind of limited with the size there. I just fill that in with my paint pen, give her a little wrinkle line because she's an old witch, and then arch it a tiny bit, but you're not able to do it much without going up on the side of your milk jug. On this side, I want it to be the same height, so I start the same place, do a cheek mark, like a little rectangle for the eye. I could go higher on this one, and a little wrinkle mark on this side as well. Just making sure they're about the same width, and they both have like a little bit of an arched top. Those eyes look pretty good. For the mouth, I want her to have a silly smile, so I have it come out one side, a little grin. I'm going to give her an old witch's tooth, a snaggle tooth over here. This side I'm going to go a little curvier, so I kind of do the side and then fill it in like that. Let's give her a wart on her nose because she is a creepy witch, right? So I just do like a little black circle, and then I thought it'd be fun to also maybe do a little wart here on her little witchy chin, just for fun. Now I do need to add a few more details, which I'm going to do with white. Going over white with black, a little tricky. I had to do a couple of coats. But I'm going to do like a little eye shine mark here in her eye, just to give a little character. I think that always helps when you like paint a face. And I have to go over it a couple of times again to cover that black finish. And I probably should have dried it a little bit better because I was getting my paint bed a little gray. And then I'm also going to fill in her tooth. I found this witch design online. I can't remember the blog's name. I think I still have it open on my browser. If I find it, I will put a link to her blog down in the description of today's video because I used her little witch face design as a template and it was really easy to do. So that worked well. For her hair, I wanted her to have something gray. The only kind of gray hair I could find for her at Dollar Tree was the microfiber mop head. It is gray and white, and it's like this kind of braided pattern, which isn't exactly what I wanted, but I really want her to have gray hair because I always like my witches to have gray hair. I don't know why. I think it's because I used to dress up as a witch when I was a child, and my mom had the most hideous gray wig that we would always wear, and we'd always win all of the like Halloween costume contests because the witch costume was so great because of the gray hair. As you can see, it's looped though, so I'm just finding which ones are looped and cutting them close to the base. I want to leave it attached as a mop head. That's going to make it easier. She's going to be wearing a witch's hat, so you won't be able to see that. But I want her hair to be longer and it look more like hair. So it's important to cut every single one of the loops. I just do like 3 or 4 at a time. I'm trying to make sure that I don't miss any of the loops and I cut them all. Really easy hair. I've never used this microfiber mop head to craft before. So this was a first. I'm going to put it on top of the milk jug, or I guess the bottom of the milk jug like that, and have it be her witch's hair. And I think there's going to be just the right amount of hair, and I like the fact that it's a little bit long. It can stick out from her witch's hat. Now, the Dollar Tree only has children's witch's hats with their costumes, and I don't like the fact that it's a little bit smaller than I need, and it is sheer on the brim of the hat. So I'm going to modify it slightly to make it a little bit more like what I want. I can't make it bigger, but I can line it. So to line it, I just picked up a black satin pillowcase from Dollar Tree. Honestly, you could use whatever you have. You could use felt, black fabric, whatever. But if you want a more solid black witch's hat like I do, then you're going to need to line this one. I couldn't find any that didn't have the lining. They have this one, and they also have like a purple version of this. I don't mind the spider webs and spiders. I think those are cute. But I'm just going to cut out a square of that black satin pillowcase. That's going to be big enough to line my witch's hat. I'm not going to bother ironing it or anything. I don't think it really matters. I just make sure that my hat is not in the way by kind of tucking it in like that and putting it on here. I think I want the shiny side here in case you can see that part. And I'm going to simply attach it with hot glue around the inner and outer edges of the brim. I thought this would still be easier than DIYing my own witch's hat just by modifying it. So Around the inside of the hat, I just do a bead of hot glue halfway around and glue the fabric to that. And if the wrinkles bother you, you can totally iron that part out. They ended up not being an issue in the end. So I'm glad I didn't really waste my time with it. And I just do the same thing on the other side, just gluing it there to the brim. Now I do need it to fit on her hat though, so I still need the hat to be open, right? So then once I get that dry, I just go in with a pair of scissors and I cut out the circle of fabric here in the middle so I can still put it on her witch's head. Because again, it's a little bit smaller than what I need, but if I have the opening, I can make it work. Now for the outer rim, I'm going to do the same thing. There is like a wire here covered by fabric. I just put hot glue on that. So you won't be able to see any of that come through the mesh, and just kind of hot glue like 1/3 of a section at a time. And that looks so much better. I wish that this part of the hat was black like the top of the hat, and then I wouldn't have to do this extra step. But 1/3 at a time, I just hot glue that. And again, no sew, definitely, on any of my craft projects. I'm going to go in with my scissors and just cut that as close as I can to the fabric so that you won't be able to see any fraying or anything like that. Because, you know, it's just fabric. It's going to fray if you cut it. But I think I can cut it close enough here to the hot glue to keep it sealed to keep from fraying. And I just carefully go around cutting that just as close as I can, trying to cut it a little bit smaller than the brim of the hat so that you can't see it from the top. And an important step, just lining that just so I have a black witch's hat. Now it is definitely more of what I was going for. I do want it to stand up, so I take a little polyfill here from an old pillow, just pop that in there just to make sure that it stands up nice and pointy. And now we can go ahead and put this on our witch's head. I have her hair just kind of sitting here on top of the witch head, trying to figure out exactly where I want it. And then I can put it on her just like that. Pretty cool. It is a little bit of a tight fit, so I am going to use some hot glue just to make sure everything stays in place. So I do some hot glue right here on the front and kind of glue that to the corner of the milk carton here. This was the part that I had a little bit hard time getting that part to stick, especially just moving it around and trying to glue the other side. So let me try that again, gluing that here on the front. And then I glue it like 2 other times around the brim of the hat just to make sure it stays on because it's a little bit small for her milk jug witch's head. These projects were so much fun. Big impact Halloween DIYs that are going to be great for Halloween decor. Going to be great for my trick-or-treaters. Really inexpensive using items from the Dollar Tree. And if you're having a Halloween party, these would be perfect. Now, one thing about if you have a Halloween party, you might want to weigh down the laundry basket a little bit with some books or something underneath the cloak just to make it a little bit sturdier if you have kids running around and stuff like that. I'm going to try it on. I wasn't sure what to do with this part to see if it was going to fit on there. As you can see, it's a little loose right now, so the head wants to jiggle around, but I think I've got a really easy fix to that. I'm just going to pop it off and add more duct tape. What I did was add like 1 piece of duct tape at a time here where her neck would be until it's thick enough where I can slide it on there and it will stand straight up. I didn't want to add too much though, so that's why I do it like 1 piece of duct tape at a time just to make sure that I don't get too much. I think I ended up using a total of 3 pieces of duct tape until it stood up straight. I'm going to arrange her little witchy locks. And then I'm going to use just a piece of black velvet ribbon. This is from the Halloween aisle. It can be anything black just to cover the milk jug, like screw top and the neck, kind of all the parts, make it look a little bit better. So I just cut a piece that's large enough to go around the witch's neck. Use some hot glue to glue that to the back now that I have her all put together. And it finishes her off with a, fun little turtleneck maybe to go with her cloak. And this is how she turned out, our life-size witch, using a milk jug and supplies from the Dollar Tree. She is so cool. Here is a little bit of a more close-up view of her. I'm glad that I found the cape with the witch's costume. And again, the creepy cloth adds just so much more texture and creepy appeal the way that it hangs off of her cloak like this. But here's like a little bit more closer look of her face. I love the face that I painted on there. I think that's so cute. And her gray and white locks are really fun too. And if you didn't want to do hair, you could always do the black tablecloth and just cut it into strips too for her hair to make it a little bit more weatherproof if you're going to put yours outside. But here it is, our life-size witch. Now for the next DIY, I'm going to use one of the witch hat wreath forms and some of the Dollar Tree leather, which is on sale right now at Dollar Tree for 50 cents a box. Can you believe that? I picked up 2 of the black ones to cover the witch wreath form to make a black leather witch's hat. I'm just going to flip it over, and as you can see, it's the perfect size to cover the hat. I use a Sharpie and about like a 1/2 inch. I just draw a border so I can flap that around the hat to attach it. Simply cut that out. This faux leather from the Dollar Tree is so easy to craft with. When I found out it was 50 cents, I was like, I need to go back and buy more. And I do need to go back and buy more. I love crafting with it. And I don't know if that means they're getting rid of it at Dollar Tree. So if so, I definitely need to stock up because I love it. I'm going to use this not as a wreath, but as a wall hanging. So I'm going to show you how to make a really cool, large witch hat wall hanging that would be perfect for an impact piece for, Halloween decorating, or again, for a Halloween party. I just do a bead of hot glue on the wire wreath form. This is probably the easiest Halloween witch's hat wreath that I've ever done. No like wrapping it with string or anything like that. Just covering it all in one piece. So that's really cool. Once I get one side done, I'm going to do the same thing here on the other. Just kind of pulling it taut as I go, just doing one section at a time. And as you can see, it's super easy. I am going to do like a ribbon for the brim of the hat. So that will be a clean transition when I go from the brim of the hat to the top of the hat like this. So again, I needed 2 boxes of the black faux leather from Dollar Tree and one of the little witch hat wreath forms. I love these. I've made lots of witch hats with these. I've also done other things with these as well, made gnomes and really cool things. They're a really versatile wreath form. Just going to trim this up a little bit right here. I want to overlap with that wire, but not much. And then you have to kind of turn it on its side to get the leather to be long enough for this part. So kind of corner to corner like that. It's the perfect length. So again, I just flip it over. I'm going to do the same thing, about a 1/2 inch. I just go ahead and draw around that with a Sharpie so I can cut that down to size. That way I don't have too much excess fabric when I go to attach that. And just simply cut it out. As you can see, it cuts so easily. There's no fraying or anything like that. I've made surfboards with this stuff. I've made so many different things with this faux leather. I love it. They have it in ivory, navy, brown, and black, I believe. So just kind of lining that up. I'm going to start here at the base. It's going to overlap the leather on the main part of the hat slightly. And I'm going to go ahead and just glue that one section at a time. It glues really nicely too, even with hot glue. As you can see, it's not really melting or anything like that. And I'm using like super hot glue with this. And again, for this section, just kind of pulling it taut. I did cut a little groove there to make it lay flat there against where it overlaps with the top of the witch's hat, like right there. And then just hot glue that. I do have a little bit of excess material here at the ends that I can just simply trim off. And we have like a really cool black leather witch's hat going on here. I think it's looking really good. I do go ahead and glue this together just so it stays flat when I hang it against the wall. And then for the brim of the hat for the ribbon, I'm just using the black spider web ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And I cut a piece long enough to overlap the back. It's the perfect width, I think, for this. And it's really subtle. I'm going to be hanging a Dollar Tree sign on this as well. And so this is going to provide a nice subtle backdrop to that. I just attach it to the back with hot glue, pulling it taut like that. And this witch's hat is really coming together. I do need to make it a hanger for it. I didn't attach that before. I'm just going to do it here on this first wire that goes across the wire wreath form. I just take some twine and simply tie a knot there where you won't be able to see it, and a functional hanger. Now, this is what I'm going to use to decorate it. The Wicked sign from Dollar Tree. So this is one of their wood signs. I'm going to save the hanger for this because I'm going to hang that on the witch's hat. And I love how this looks. Since it's such a big wall hanging, the witch's hat, I needed a big sign to decorate it with. I'm going to stain mine with some antique wax by Waverly. I don't want too much though. So as you can see, I'm just doing a very sparse coat all over with my foam brush. And then I immediately go over that with a wet baby wipe. So I kind of get a medium finish, but it brings out the wood grain in the project. Then I can just go ahead and reattach the hanger. And I'm going to simply just hang this back on my witch's hat. So easy to do. Such a fun, large piece to decorate for Halloween, and really pretty as well, I think. If you wanted to paint your Wicked sign, you totally could. Any color that you're using for your decor. I consider doing white or green, but I'm glad that I stained it because I love the Dollar Tree wood when it's stained like that. I think it makes it look more high-end. And it's so simple just to drape that over. The hanger was the perfect length to just hang it there on the front of our witch's hat. And it looks great there next to my DIY witch's broomsticks that I have done here on my channel. Hey guys, I would love to see your DIYs. Be sure to join our private Facebook group. It's linked in the description, and you can share your DIYs with us as well. I would love to see them. You guys are so creative. Okay, for the next DIY, I'm going to make a large wall hanging with a Dollar Tree skull and crossbones placemat and 3 of the Dollar Tree wood wall shelves. Again, I'm doing large pieces, large Halloween DIYs for a party or for home decor. And so I want everything to be large. The placemat is very large, so I'm going to need 3 of the wood shelves to make the background for it. I want to do a slatted wood board sign with this if I can, so it's going to be a little bit challenging to do that, but I love how it turned out. As you can see, the wood grain varies greatly on these, but that's okay. I kind of like the variety. I take some ivory acrylic paint and mix it together with some antique wax by Waverly. I want almost like a light driftwood feel for the background on this one, something very subtle. So just going to go over all 3 of my signs. As you can see, they're all like not attached yet because I'm going to do like a slatted sign where they're all going to be like hanging from each other and displaying that skull and crossbones, and we're going to even make this one into a pirate. I thought that would be fun. And it would go for Halloween, also go with my coastal Halloween a little bit too, right? That looks pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit more antique wax by Waverly to make it a little bit darker and just distress it ever so slightly to give that wood grain effect to it. I think those look pretty good, and I think that's going to be a great background. If you wanted a more warm color, you could totally stain it. You could paint the background of yours. I picked up this silver metallic skull and crossbones, but I actually want it to be black. But that's easy enough. All I got to do is flip it over, and the back of the placemat is black, as you can see. And I think it is going to fit perfectly on the 3 wood shelves together like this. Now I'm going to do one slat at a time. So I take some hot glue and I glue the skull down just around the border, just with some hot glue on the first slatted sign. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to need to cut it so that I have 3 pieces of the skull and crossbones to go on all 3 signs. So I'm just trying to carefully cut this. The plastic placemat cuts easily, and I did cut it a little bit long. I was trying not to cut out any of the design, but nothing crazy. I was able to trim that up, but you just have to kind of be careful how you line these up a little bit when you're cutting them. It can be a little bit tricky, right? I'm going to go ahead and hot glue this one down. This has got like lots of different places, so kind of doing like one section here at a time. Part of the bone is going to fit on this one. And then I'm just doing it on the outer sections with the hot glue so that you can't see any of that because of that open pattern. You're going to be able to see the board through. I don't want you to be able to see any hot glue. And then again, I cut off the third portion of the skull and crossbones like that. So that's going to be the middle section with the eyes and part of the nose. And then this one's going to be like the mouth and the bones here for the bottom section. I love putting these wood shelf signs together, either the skinnier ones or the wider ones like this, to do signs that hang. I just think it's so fun. And again, I'm just going around the border and gluing that down. You'll also have to kind of glue it a little bit here and there on the top and bottom to make sure it stays put. I noticed that I cut this one a little shorter than I would like, and you can see some of the wood going through. I'm going to try to disguise that with a little black Sharpie. Just the middle section, I could have cut a little bit better, and I don't want it to be super obvious, so the Sharpie is a great way to hide that. It was a little bit hard to see it, though. It kind of went in with the paint a little bit, so I did touch it up a tiny bit with a black paint pen, too. And now I don't think you can really tell that any of the design is missing. Now it's a matter of putting it together. These are the strings, the white like macrame cord that comes with these shelves. And I'm going to use it to attach. I was trying to determine how to put it together, if I wanted like the knots to be on the front or the back. I decided to do the knots on the front because I think it looks a little bit better that way. They are kind of hard to thread through there. So I do like to put a little hot glue on the end to make sure that it's strong enough to go through. But again, I kind of had to force it through a little bit, probably because I was going through the placemat too. But just knot that on the front, and then I'm going to connect it to the middle section. Now, making it this way did add more time to the project. It did take me longer to make it than if I would have just glued the three signs together. So if you're a little shorter on time, you could do that. Just put a bead of hot glue on the inside lip of each one of those shelves, glue them all together, and then you would only have to string the top part. As you can do, I'm just doing one section at a time. So I attach the middle section to the bottom section, and then I'm going to attach this section to the top section. So I'm just kind of cutting the cord as I go. I'm going to need a couple of those cords that it came with to be able to make it all the way around and to include the hanger for this. Sometimes I noticed that like my skull came up a little bit when I was trying to force that string through there. So that made it a little bit challenging too. I have a little bit of a space between each board. So when it'll hang, it will hang like a slatted sign. And then for this piece, I'm going to just knot it here on top. This is going to be the hanger for our little skeleton pirate. He's not a pirate yet, but he's going to be. And I just make it however long I want my hanger to be, knotting that one on the front. And then I have to go ahead and do the same thing here on the other side, stringing it together. So again, definitely more work if you're going to do like the accordion like slatted sign like this where it kind of dangles, but it actually looks really cool in the end. So I think it is worth the extra effort. This would be a great sign for your entryway or for a party. You could even hang this one outdoors. Since it's made out of that like vinyl placemat material, I think it should be rather weatherproof. As long as your glue holds up. If you are going to use it outdoors, you might want to use a stronger glue like an E6000 or something like that versus hot glue if your area is still hot like mine is. And I just simply string that, my last piece for putting it together. Now, one thing I don't like, though, is having those two holes in the bottom be empty. So I did go ahead and string that and knot it. And I'm just going to have that go to the other side, kind of hidden behind it, so that all of the holes on the shelves are filled with knots, just to make it look more finished. So this is what our little skull is looking like so far. Pretty cool, right? And then I'm going to use some of that Dollar Tree faux black leather to make an eye patch. So I'm simply using the eye as reference to sketch out an eye patch. Super easy shape to do. And to estimate there with the size of the eye. I want it to be larger than the eye, but only slightly. And then just cutting out my eye patch. I thought this would be a fun way to give it a little pirate appeal. You could leave it just a skull and crossbones if you like that, but of course I wanted to add just a few more details to make it more fun. I attached the faux leather with some hot glue and just glue that right on to the placemat. Since it's the back of the placemat instead of the front, instead of it being shiny, it's kind of a matte finish, which goes well with that matte faux leather look and goes well with my decor. I didn't want it to be shiny, and so that helps as well. I also used that scrap piece of black faux leather to do the straps. So I'm going to have this one go up over the eye, just kind of attaching that with hot glue. That's going to be the patch strap to go around the skeleton skull, like that. And I've done a lot of like pirate DIYs for Halloween on my channel. Lots of fun ideas. It definitely goes well for like a coastal vibe for your Halloween if you make your skulls into a pirate. I did the same thing here on the other side with a much smaller strip. And that is it. This piece is really large. It's really cool. Let me show you how it looks hanging up. As you can see, there's like a little gap in between each one of the wood signs to give it that slatted feel. But I think it turned out really cool, and it was a fun way to DIY with one of these placemats from the Dollar Tree. I always like to try to include them in DIYs because I think they can be really fun, and they're usually really easy to find at Dollar Tree. Okay, it's almost time for the final reveal. I really hope you enjoyed these 19 Halloween DIYs in today's crafting marathon. You can find me at Crafty Beach on YouTube on all social media. Please let me know down in the comments below which DIY was your favorite today, or you can have one or two. This was a pretty long video. And you can also find me at Crafty Little Beach, which is my second YouTube channel. Enjoy the final reveal.
was told it was urgent. Come see me tonight. In the circ we're flirting and we dance for hours. She knew that she had me, but I didn't realize I'm sleeping with a vampire. Got lost in the city when we drove through the night. Stopped by in an alley and she kissed me while she knew that she had me, but I didn't see it. Now I'm sleeping with a vampire. When morning has come
Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of today's video. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to all of my Crafty Beach Bum members for supporting my channel here on YouTube. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Nancy Wunner, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, Live Another Day, Marin Christensen, Debbie Middleton, Adrienne Brolt, Red Mama, Tammy Muir, and Donna Tanner. I appreciate you guys so much. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach Bum member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video. You're going to get early ad-free access to my videos here on YouTube. It's $4.99 a month and you're free to cancel at any time. I hope you got some great Halloween crafting inspiration today. If you would like more Halloween Dollar Tree DIYs, be sure to check out one of the YouTube videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting and happy Halloween.